$497 or less. IdealMRI.com.
Johnson was coming after him, still chasing the quarterback, and forces him back inside. The ball out as he hit the ground. And the officials say the Bears have it.
They drop out in coverage. Under pressure, Ellinger! It's Lynch. And James Lynch wraps him up.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
On the fake, on the slant, it's Denzel Mims, and the Bears take the lead.
Here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go on this Friday, wrapping up what would be our week number 2 episode.
10.
5 plus 5 is 10. Pretty good lineup today. I think you'll enjoy it, including we'll start with Joey McGuire in about 15 minutes. We'll also speak with Teddy Cahill, who's a Baseball America columnist on many things, including the news. Baylor's already had, 3 or 4 players announced that they're coming back for yet another year, including Andy Thomas. We will also today hear from Major League Baseball, former Baylor and Major League Baseball player David Murphy, who's a part of Fox Sports Southwest. And we're going to bounce around a little bit. Grayson Grundhafer on the week that is, as far as recruiting was with Baylor. And then one of those, Sam Carroll from a high school in New Mexico, but he's not really from New Mexico. He's actually lived in Japan. His dad's been at the Pentagon. Remind me of my life. He's going to join us today at 4:15. And former Baylor running back great Dennis Gentry. And we'll have the poll results. It was back, you guys remember this, April 17th, when all of a sudden that evening, all hell broke loose because of West Texas.
Oh, that's been a while now.
How many years ago? Back in 2013, on this date, I spoke with Marty Crawford, who's now the superintendent at Tyler Independent School District. Remember that, Craig? We were sitting there cooking on the grill. The next thing you know, man, everything, you just didn't know. And then that was 7 years ago today. Sometimes we only remember things when it's an anniversary a year later, 5 years or 10 years or 20 years later. Just wanted to bring that up. That popped up on my timeline today. A day that was obviously a day that we'll never forget, and the day we stayed up throughout the rest of the night to help find ways, clothing, ice, whatever we could. Huge day today. You would think Governor Abbott spoke to the state of Texas today. Paul, your thoughts, just you and Craig, and I have mine. The schools are done for the academic year, which means they will not go back to school, private, public schools, until perhaps the start of the fall semester. So we know that. What came out of it from what you heard or saw or you read, or Craig, you too?
I think he's taken an aggressive stance on trying to get businesses back open by early May, and they're going to, again, that could get derailed. I mean, we could get a whole new batch of bad news, and we'll see. So I don't know. I guess it's good. You know, I guess we'll see. I mean, the schools, that was done anyway, because if you can't have more than 10 people in a place right now, you can't have, 500 kids in a school, 1,000 kids in a school.
Or 6,000 an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what were they going to do? They were going to bring guys back for 3 weeks and then graduate them, because, I mean, they've been taking online classes this entire time. They were at the tail end of the semester as it stands now, and when everything was called off, they had, 6 weeks to go? So now they've got, here we are, April 17th. They got about 4 weeks to go before school would typically close up. So, with a month and no plan in place for bringing them all back and having any safety measures, I just think this was a foregone conclusion and shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. If you were holding out hope that the school year was going to return in a month's time, then I just don't think there was very good chances of that. So that's not surprising, and I think it's the best course of action. I think I can already feel everybody sort of loosening up a little bit on this new way of life that we've been living, and I think in some ways it's really a positive. I think it can also be a negative because we're getting a little bit too loose and getting a little bit too comfortable with, it's not that bad, or it's not as bad as it was around here, and there's not cases popping up every day. Yeah, that doesn't mean that the virus isn't still going around. And look, I'm not advocating for being on lockdown for the remainder of time. I'm not in the corner of, let's shut everything down and, oh my gosh, let's cancel everything right now until 2021. I don't believe we should be doing all of that, but I do think we still need to remain very diligent and careful with this whole thing and not get too comfortable and too back into our normal mode of things to where we just cause another lockdown that's even more extreme than the one we've been going through. That's my biggest concern, but I do like that we're at least gaining some positive momentum and that there is a plan in place that at least appears to not only keep the schools closed down, but there's a plan in place to start to reopen some of the businesses, and we are certainly appreciative of the businesses that are supporting this show.
Yeah, some of them have had to, obviously have been affected, in many, many ways, but it looks like that will open up even more for us. Open up, of course, more importantly, people getting some jobs back, we hope. We were all fortunate, the three of us, to have something very quickly, thank God. And here we are with SicEm365 Radio. Also today, tonight, the WNBA draft, and 3 Baylor players. Lauren Cox most likely goes 3 to Indiana. Taya Cooper, we've had both of them on the show in the last week, will go in the top, you would think, 7 to 10. And then La Vega's Juicy Landrum will most likely either go in the second round or sometime to somebody and be a part of the WNBA as well.
Yeah, I don't know how the mock drafts typically work other than, a few people who do follow college women's basketball closely put out theirs, like Michelle Vopel has one. I don't think Juicy's on that, so I think Juicy's more of a we'll wait and see tonight. I'm not sure that it's a guaranteed thing that she's going to be drafted in these 3 rounds that they will be holding. Now, she could be. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I don't know how good of a percentage chance there is that it will happen. Lauren Cox, that's a for sure thing that she'll probably go number 3 overall. And then Taya, I've seen her anywhere from, a couple of articles mentioning top 15, top 10 type to later in the first round. So, kind of take that for what it's worth. But you'll definitely see Lauren Cox get drafted very quickly, and you'll see Taya Cooper at some point as well for sure, but we'll see on Juicy.
The poll, by the way, from yesterday is 4 minutes away from being closed, so basically it is 926 votes. Shock Linwood, 40.9%, best running back the last decade for Baylor. Lake Seastrunk, 35.6%. Terrence Ganaway, 20.7%. Then Jay Finley, just below 3%, so that's pretty much a great race between Linwood and Seastrunk.
I would have been interested to see how many votes Glasgow would have received.
Yeah, he would have got. I think he would have probably chipped away at each one of them by 5%, something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, Glasgow didn't have the long sustained success, maybe.
Sure.
But Shock Linwood should be the best. I mean, he's the all-time leading rusher and touchdown, all those things. He's got those records. To me, that's the number one. Lake was certainly much more electric.
Oh yeah,
than Shock was, but that doesn't mean that he's the best. And
see, Lake would rip off some games where you just go, wow, like 21 carries, 175 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But then, he'd have a couple games where it's more like 13 carries for 62 yards, and one of those runs was like 35 yards. You know what I mean? Whereas Shock was more of you're going to get on average about 7 yards of carry per, from that young man. And
in the Briles offense.
Yeah.
The negative yardage, they would make up for it because they could throw it. But what they loved was Shock was not going to lose yardage.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
You had to get back there in a hurry to get Shock.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, really, you did.
Well, here as well from Daniel Jeremiah. He was a part of a Q&A on NFL.com. His thoughts about players at Baylor. Also, there's this little smoke rising, Paul, and this is what happens. Cowboys love the fans, as any team would. Stars, names. This is from Adam Schefter. Jets have not offered an extension to All-Pro safety Jamal Adams. Might be named a monitor for trade, and of course, immediately everyone focused that he'll end up in Dallas.
Well, because he wants to, or he said he wants to. The Cowboys they're such an interesting organization in that I could say right now, if I was an NFL player, man, I'd really love to play for the Cowboys, knowing it would never happen. Because I could be from Ponder, or I could be from Abilene or something like that. Like, man, I grew up a Cowboy fan. It would be great. And then my agent's going to say, well, look at this. The Cowboys don't have this guy, and Jerry Jones loves his stars. When, in all actuality, outside of Amari Cooper, the last several years, they haven't made a huge trade like that. Amari Cooper was the first time in several years that they've done that.
So how much do you have to give up? Oh, everyone wants Jamal Adams. How much, again?
If you only give up if you do an Amari Cooper deal where it's the first-round pick for him, I'm fine with that because it fills a gigantic need for you.
So you think the Jets would give up
Jamal
Adams for the 17th overall? No way.
No.
Yeah, you got to look at it not so much what you would give up, but like give up J.P. Lattiser or something like that. Well, you got to give up something.
The Cowboy fans need to look. There's what's acceptable. So what would be a good deal for the Cowboys is they got the same Amari Cooper deal. Just give your first round pick, you get an All-Pro player back in return. That's great. But I don't know if that's the chart the Jets are going to go by. And the Raiders at the time, I think, took that deal just because they have such a a gigantic smorgasbord of first-round picks over these couple of years that they said, yeah, sure, we'll take another first-round pick and use that, and they did. So you've got a better deal with Amari Cooper if you're the Cowboys because of that situation. The Jets, I don't know if they have to play that game, and they might ask for more. And the Cowboys have so many other needs that to give up a bunch of picks for Jamal Adams would be silly.
Yeah, Colt Barber, go ahead.
First of all, how dare you respect LP Ladouceur, not JP Ladouceur, the longtime Cowboys.
That was his twin brother.
Yeah, long snapper. No, he would not seal the deal, I don't think, for them. I don't know what story will die first, Cowboys and Jamal Adams pursuits or Cowboys and Des Bryant, because it just seems like the two stories that have literally been ongoing now for 3+ years. Will Dez ever come back to the Cowboys? Dez is getting back in shape, and Dez is doing this. And the same thing goes for every offseason. Every time that something's not going right with the Jets, here's Jamal Adams to the Cowboys. The rumors coming back. And so, maybe that means that at some point it's actually going to happen, but by the time it happens, it feels like he's going to be, on the last legs of his career by the time he puts a star in his helmet. But, hey, I'd love to see them make that move. It's just, as you said, what are they going to do to make that move?
All right, so today we start in just a second with Joey McGuire, Grayson Grundhafer, 3:45. Let's see, Sam Carroll from high school in New Mexico. He's been all over the world. A commitment for Baylor at 4:15. Dennis Gentry, 4:30. Let's see. David Murphy, the former Ranger and Baylor baseball player, broadcaster at 5. And there's a couple other. Vince Ginta, who's a part of the Baylor staff and the operations personnel. Colt Barber did a spectacular interview with him. We're going to run about half of that today. I was listening to it last night. It is really intriguing, very enlightening. We'll have that for you as well. Man, Monday, we've already loaded up, and I'll tell you about that at the end of the show. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak, I'm David Smoak. Coming up next, let's go, Joey McGuire, Baylor assistant head coach on SicEm365 Radio. At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas. Our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. In today's world, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. We even offer financing. Everything's included in the price, and more importantly, you'll not get a bill in the mail later on. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule an appointment safely from home, online in minutes at idealmri.com, or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI. And please remember to follow CDC guidelines and practice social distancing. Stay home, except for the essentials, and be safe, and together we'll get through this at idealmri.com.
We are facing some unique challenges at this time. We want to do our part to support not only our community, but our medical providers who are really overtasked right now. Governor Greg Abbott has required dental offices to postpone all elective dental procedures, but still be available for dental emergencies. At this time, dental emergencies are those that are defined as something that would make somebody consider going to the emergency room for treatment. We're offering to see you at our office Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8 to noon, and we will waive all fees. We're doing this to support the community and to support the medical system. This will allow the overtasked medical community to focus on the truly needy at this time. In the midst of what seems to be so much gloomy news, we want to send a positive signal of our faith in our community and in each other. We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're 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 all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together. Thank you and God bless.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hi, this is Jeff Hume, head football coach at Midway High School, and you're listening to SicEm365 Radio with David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
We have so much and so many ways to hear from you. We will tell you about that. Of course, we do have the text line brought to you by Riverbend Liquor and Wine. We also have the chat room brought to you by the Willis Law Firm, and so much more to get to, including Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, the Baylor guest hotline. We're now joined by Baylor assistant head coach Joey McGuire. Let's go.
What's up, man? How are you?
We are doing great. Paul Catalina is with me. Craig Smoak is with me. And you're with us. It's all that matters. And did you ever think at one point when you were thinking about getting into coaching that you would have the term or the phrase Instagram takeover?
No, never. In fact, I don't have an Instagram. And so that was and whenever Larry came up with that, our new recruiting director, whenever he came up with it, I was like, dude, I'm going to need some help. And he said, don't worry, Jordan's going to reach out to you. He'll tell you what to do. So it was, I will tell you this, it was a lot of fun.
Did you ever use like a filter, like put dog ears or anything on yourself?
No. I think my wife wanted to do that, and Garrett, but we stayed away from that.
Coach, you have a very big personality. You're a very friendly guy. How difficult has this been, not having players around on campus and having to communicate electronically? I mean, doing the best that you can, but how difficult has this proven for, someone like you who wants to be around your players and be in the midst of spring ball right now?
Well, man, it's tough. Because whenever you look at the big picture, there's so many things going on in this world right now, and so many people that are sick, and of course we've had so many deaths. So it's for me, whenever I say this, I feel kind of selfish, but it's really killing me. It's one of those deals. We actually had a psychiatrist that played baseball at LSU, he's a good friend of Coach Aranda, talk to the coaching staff so we could kind of talk to our kids about it. But one thing he talked about was people, kind of losing their identity. And, man, I feel that way sometimes. If I'm not Zooming with the players to where I can see their faces and interact, I've been doing this. I started in the spring, so this is my 27th year. And for 26 years, I've had spring football. And so not being out on the grass with the players, being in the locker room with the players laughing, being in the coaching office, watching film and cutting up, you really kind of lose who you are. So it's been really tough. Thank the Lord we're healthy, and I'll take that over anything. I've got to spend some great time with Debbie and Garrett, but it's really tough. I think it's tough on everybody, but for people that are really social and really routine oriented and schedule oriented, it's been something. It's not a lot of fun right now.
Couldn't you recruit during any time because of who you are, your personality, how positive you are, your ability to react, to reach, and relate to people?
Well, the recruiting part, besides us not being able, of course, the best part about recruiting to Baylor is being on Baylor's beautiful campus and being around the people. So that's the tough thing for the guys that have never been on campus or maybe been on one time. But the recruiting part, if you think about it, you have more access to these kids because they're in the same boat you are. Mm-hmm. They're all sitting at home. They're doing their stuff online. They're eager to talk to people and FaceTime. So, man, that's been really one our recruiting staff has done a phenomenal job of being organized. Coach Aranda's got a great plan with that. And so I think we have done as good a job as anybody of taking advantage of being able to reach these kids. We've actually got a couple commits during this time. So I think we've done a good job with that. But that has kind of been the easier part of having access to these kids.
Do you guys have any kind of plan in place yet for if you have a truncated summer practice where you may not have as much time to do installs with a new defense and a new offense?
Well, once the Big 12 went to the Zoom meetings, we were recording stuff and the kids could go on to XOs and watch the recording. But once we were able to do live meetings, I think these guys are picking it up pretty quick. I reviewed yesterday. We had a meeting, and I reviewed with my guys install 1 and install 2. And I mean, other than I have not seen them do it, I mean, I know the kids, so it's easier for me. I feel like they have a good grasp on what we're installing, but we'll have a plan. I mean, that's one of the the strong points I think of the staff. I think we're very organized. I think we have a good schedule and we have a plan, and that will all be dictated on, the health and of our kids and when we can get them ready to play once they say we can come back.
How have you felt this staff has been able to gel? Obviously, Randa's been stuck in Baton Rouge, and you guys were already kind of spread out to begin with, but how has that worked just in, not only getting your plans in place, but also getting to know each other a little bit, because there's a lot of familiarity that also needs to be established?
Yeah, well, it's been fun. From the standpoint, we already had a feel for each other because we're in the office. I mean, the tough thing about all of this is that the staff, we have not seen the kids do what we're asking them to do football-wise. But as far as getting familiar with each other, we had a good couple of months of being in the office and watching film and stuff like that. And then, I mean, we see each other every day. I mean, we're in a Zoom meeting with each other or with the kids at different parts of the day on certain days. But as far as the coaches, I mean, I just got off. I had to run to Waco because my computer was screwing up, and our ID department did a great job taking care of me. But on the hour ride back, I wasn't watching it, but I was listening to a Zoom meeting with Coach Roberts, and we're talking about OU and what everybody's seen and stuff like that. So we're in contact, and we have some characters on this staff, and so it's been a lot of fun to get to know each other. And the one thing that the key part that we're missing that we're going to have to, really just accelerate once we get back is we just haven't coached with each other. We haven't been on the field, and I know how Coach Roberts teaches, and I really have enjoyed getting to know him, but I haven't seen him coach, and so I'm anxious to be out on the field with him and coach with him.
Yeah, that's the you think about with the players, the practices, the hands-on and all that, and then you guys haven't done that yourself. And
no,
is there anything? This came from our Willis Law Firm chat room. Ask Coach McGuire: is there one thing he's enjoyed about the new staff that you didn't or couldn't have seen coming after you made the decision to stay?
I think so. The thing that I really enjoy, and I don't know if I didn't see it coming or not, but you have a bunch of guys that really respect what was done here at Baylor from the old staff. And a lot of times you don't get that because, it's like, hey, we're going to do it my way or our way. And then the other thing is, it's a real unique situation. You usually don't have coaches coming in off an 11-win season. Most of the time when coaching staffs come in, they're having to rebuild stuff, and they're having to find out when they weren't successful versus why they were successful. So, man, it shows a lot of confidence. I've said this before. It shows a lot of confidence that Coach Aranda has in himself and what was done here before. But that's been a lot of fun. I mean, they really respect what we've done. And then again, I'm all about people, so I really enjoy being around people and getting to know different people and personalities. And with me doing this for 27 years, I knew a lot of these guys. I knew Coach Stewart. He recruited us. whenever I was at Cedar Hill and he was at Maryland. When he was with the Dallas Cowboys, he and I were sitting next to each other on a plane flying to Wisconsin to both do a clinic, and that's when I first met him, and I knew who Coach Aranda was. I spent a day with him last year with Coach Marinelli with the Cowboys and Fedora. I knew Coach Fedora. I knew Wickline. And, and then I have a lot of buddies that know those guys. So I kind of knew what different groups were coming in, and it's fun to put the personalities behind the names and get to know each other.
Does it help that a lot of those guys have been high school coaches or connected like Coach Fedora? I mean, his brother is a legendary high school coach.
Yeah, it does. It helps. You also have a large group. I want to say maybe in the entire group that it's at least have had some connection to Texas. Whether it be through high school recruiting Texas, coaching high school football. Every one of those guys have. You got Juice, who was a great football player at Richardson Bertner, and played at Houston, and he's coached in the Big 12. So you've got guys that have connections to the state of Texas, and that makes it a lot easier for them to kind of understand the makeup and how we're going to recruit the state, and then what the Big 12 looks like.
Joey, what does it mean? You had that incredible success at Cedar Hill, but you're going to be inducted into the Texas High School Coaches Association Hall of Honor. What does that mean to you?
Man, whenever it comes to my career, honestly, I don't know if there's a bigger honor for a person that loves Texas high school football and the Coaches Association the way I do. When Coach Martin, the head of the Coaches Association, called me, I started crying. I got very emotional. I got to call my mentors and tell them, and got emotional. And I called Coach Rule. He's one of my mentors, and told him, and it was funny. He said, I've never been around a person that took so much pride in an association. You made me want to be a member of the THSCA. So it means the world to me, but it at the same time, I've talked to a lot of my players, former players, and I've talked to all my coaches that we were together at Cedar Hill. And, I know that it's Joey McGuire going in, but I'm going to tell you right now, y'all know I had a great coaching staff that I was a part of, and I had some phenomenal players that, we were able to get them on the bus and go win a bunch of football games. And then the last is Gina Farmer, the athletic director there. I mean, you think about Gina Farmer, she took over at Cedar Hill as athletic director. She was one of the first female athletic directors in the state of Texas. And her first hire is me, 31-year-old guy that had never been a head coach before, and saw something in me and took a chance. And we laugh about it all the time because it worked out pretty good for both of us.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Hey, Coach, it's clear anytime you talk how much you love your players. For these young men, 18 to 22, 23 years old, this new normal that we're all getting used to is an adjustment, but for them especially, and I know you've got to probably have some level of concern as a staff that they're not under your watchful eye, but just how kind of nerve-wracking is that, and how much are you just concerned for them in this disruption in their normal lives?
Well, it's tough, and I understand the limitations, but it's tough, some of the limitations that you have. I will tell you this, and I'm a huge fan of this guy. I mean, it's one of the reasons I stayed at Baylor. But Mac Rhodes and his staff, our wellness staff, Kenny, I mean, what they've been able to do to get, bands and different things for our kids to work with. Our nutritionist, Jay Buzz, what she's been able to do. I saw her today, and there were like 16 to 20 kids coming up and getting different snack stuff and everything like that from her. So, the things that Baylor has committed to during this time to make sure that our students and our student athletes are taken care of it's phenomenal. And it just makes it makes me more proud to be a Baylor Bear, to be a part of that. But it's nerve wracking. The other thing that I really think it's been a lot of fun. But, again, I know the guys. So my Zoom meeting this morning was with the offensive lineman, and we were able to cut up because, I know all of them. But Coach Aranda, every Friday we do a Zoom meeting where, like, Coach Roberts has the wide receivers and Coach Fedora has the safeties, and we just get to know each other because that's something that those guys, they know their position, but they don't know the entire team. So that's been a lot of fun, and it's been some really good feedback from the players and the coaches.
Joey McGuire, assistant head football coach at Baylor, with us on SicEm365 Radio.
Coach, one of the things I wonder, just from your perspective, you were talking about the Coaches Association. I was back home in Florida a couple years ago for my high school reunion, and I was at the football game that night. And some of the coaches that coached me in high school were there, the kind of retired guys. And one of the things they were asking me about was, what do you think the difference is between Florida and Texas? And I said, you get split hairs on the talent probably all day long, who has more and better, and it's really 6 of one, half a dozen of another. But I felt that the coaching was much better in Texas, partially because of resources. But do you think that has to do with the fact that as the Texas High School Coaches Association, you are unified more than pretty much all the other 49 states?
Well, I 100%. You said it perfectly. I would like to find any organization, period, that has a stronger voice in a state than the THSCA and their work with the UIL. I mean, there's been legislation after legislation that hasn't gone through at different times because of the voice of the Texas High School Coaches Association, and that, oneness and what we believe in and how we're trying to take care of the student athletes. And you've had so many things pass also of just, you have a unified tackling certification that you have to do to coach on the field at the state of Texas. I mean, you have to be CPR certified. You have to be a full-time employee of the school district to coach in the state of Texas. So, and the majority of those full-time employees, probably 99% of them, are college graduates that are certified to teach a subject. So that doesn't happen anywhere else. I mean, you can talk about that, but that really does not happen anywhere else outside of the state of Texas. So I'm with you. I coached enough Under Armour games to know that there are athletes everywhere, and Florida has some just freak athletes. But the organization, the THSCA, and what they do, and the public schools and the UIL, it's amazing what those guys can do and the power they have.
Coach, it seems like just yesterday, got our production assistant Woodrow
we
fired
just had
up
a
over
turnover.
here. I don't know. It just feels like just yesterday when you guys were having to scrape together a class in basically no time at all, and yet now these guys are going to be seniors next year. And I know there's still some uncertainty and all of that, but Charlie and Terrell Bernard and John Lovett and the list goes on and on. Treston Ebner. In the time that you have been able to talk to these guys, or at least be around these guys, can you tell that switch has flipped for them going into their senior years, where they know that, hey, this is the last run and we've got to make it count?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. That's one thing. I've had a different colleague from a different school that will go nameless. That he was talking about how he's still trying to get the locker room where it's at, and he goes, through all this, you're lucky, because one thing you can say is y'all's locker room is really healthy. We've got a bunch of kids that really care about each other and that have been through some hard times and then some great times. And so it's really fun. Those guys, they're taking on the leadership role. And I have a unique perspective because I have a kid that came in that class with Garrett. And so I get to see a lot of different things from a dad's eye and, a coach's eye. So these guys, they're ready to go and they're exciting. They're excited about the possibilities. They're just, chomping at the bits to get back on campus. But, I think we all are. I think that's, everybody is around the nation to kind of get back to a little bit more normal. But, yeah, they're excited. And we have some strong leaders. I mean, you named them. Petrie, another one. I mean, there's your loan. When we came in, that was our one commit, and, man, what a leader. And what's really cool about these kids, too, like Terrell Bernard will graduate this summer and have 2 years of eligibility left. Petrie's going to graduate this summer and have 2 years of eligibility left. Tyler Henderson's supposed to graduate, I believe, this summer with 2 degrees. And he'll probably get another year off of his knee injury, so he might have 3 years left. So, I mean, you're talking about some kids that, just like Sam Tecklenburg, that was playing in the bowl game with his Masters, you're going to have some guys like that are doing some great things for Baylor.
Joey McGuire, you are about to see some players who are now a part of the NFL draft. Some of them will be drafted. Some of them might slip through but get free agent or undrafted free agent opportunities. How exciting is it to watch what might be with Bravion or Jamison or obviously James Lynch and Grayland and Miller and others, that they might be drafted and might start a new part of their journey?
Oh, it's so exciting. So exciting. I mean, you're talking about some really great kids that I'm really close to. You know, again, I don't want to take away the fact that there's people that are really sick and we've had some bad things happen around the world. But, man, you're talking about, like, Bravion not having an opportunity to do his pro day and Jameson, because I just hate that Bravion wasn't in the combine, because you're talking about some, like, freaky dudes testing-wise. I mean, 330 pounds running a 4.9 or better. I mean, I wanted to see that. I've seen it, but I wanted to see it where it's going on to a clock for an NFL team. And I'm really excited. Some people, you know, and I've got a chance to talk to a bunch of scouts. A lot of that, you know, Rules talked to him, but he's also, with him being in the NFL's kind of directed him to me a little bit. And we've got a lot of people in the NFL that are really excited about some Baylor football players. And Chris Miller's one of them, and of course Denzel Mims and Bravion, and it's going to be interesting because we could have 10 to 12 guys that are in camps once this thing breaks and have opportunities to play at the next level.
James Lynch is a guy who I think that you look at him and there's going to be defensive linemen who look like they're carved out of granite and they came out of the catalog, and he certainly doesn't. I mean, it's not like he's out of shape or anything, but he doesn't look like that. But his motor and his football IQ and his strength and all that is really ridiculously off the charts, and people seem to doubt him. Do you think he will surprise a lot of people in the NFL?
Yeah, I'll be shocked if he's not a 10 to 12-year NFL football player. I mean, you said it. You described him perfectly. His football IQ is ridiculous. That room, whenever you're talking about Bravion, Locke, and Lynch, one of the best things, besides how hard they played and how much they cared about each other, is their football IQ. You had three guys that had a lot of football knowledge. It was easy to talk football with those guys, and they got it really quick. And whenever you have guys like that love football and have the ability that James does, it's going to be really interesting to where he goes. And then, like I said, I'll be shocked if he doesn't have a long career, because, you know, his best football is ahead of him too. As good as he's been at Baylor, his best football is still ahead of him.
Joey, last question for you. We appreciate your time. Is it when you have people move on, then people have to come in? It's like high school. Guys move on, you got to have those coming through. What is in your opinion, based on what you know, the talent that's back plus what came in from the spring, or whatever is the spring, what is the cupboard like in your opinion at Baylor?
Oh, we're excited and we're going to be ready to go. I mean, first of all, on the offensive side of the ball, you really have 9 starters coming back. You could say 8, but I count 9 because you had a rotation at tailback. So, you lost Mims, you lost Tech, and you lost Hasty, but you also love it. And Tristan played a lot, so it's they started some games. So you really have 9 back on offense. I can't wait to see Coach Fedora and that side of the ball, that staff. I mean, you've got a seasoned play caller and a guy that's had a lot of success in college calling plays, and Coach Fedora. So I know, really excited about that. And then on the other side of the ball, you have a lot of talent, a lot of young talent that it's kind of their time. I mean, you got some older guys like Terrell, and like Raleigh, who, have played a lot of football games, but you can put 10 guys on the field that played in the Sugar Bowl. And so that played in the Big 12 championship. So it's not like, yes, we lost a lot. We lost a lot of games on that side of the ball, but we also have a lot of guys that are going to be able to come in and play. And it's always fun. You know, somebody's going to step up that you didn't think was going to. Somebody's going to have a year that you didn't think was going to. You knew they could, but their light came on, and man, it's really exciting as a coach to see that happen.
Joey, if anyone ever had a bad day, they need to meet you because they'll change. The day will change. You know, we appreciate you all the time. It's great. It's interesting that back earlier, about 4 months ago, you and I traded texts because what you were trying to figure out. And then
Right.
I'll never forget, you were one of the first people to text me and make sure I was doing okay. When here we are with Paul and Craig, and we're right here, and things are great, and the SicEm365 people are fantastic. And thank you for being a part of our show.
Well, you know, I'm a big fan of theirs. I know those guys, and they've been so awesome to me since I got there. But it's probably the smartest thing they did was to get you guys. I mean, you know what I think of you, but what you bring to Baylor and to this community and the way y'all cover sports, it's it's really important what y'all do, and the professionalism that y'all do it with is just amazing. And I just appreciate y'all, and I appreciate them having the vision to do what they're doing, and you know me, man, I'm a huge fan of you guys, and I really appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Coach.
you as always. Joey McGuire, assistant head coach at Baylor, with us on SicEm365 Radio.
Always a treat to talk to him, to hear him talk, and picked up a few interesting things from that conversation. He's obviously dearly, as a lot of coaches around the country are right now, missing some spring football. But it sounds like, they're doing the best with the situation they've been handed, and they're still getting a lot of good work done. And, I mean, shoot, we've seen 3 commits in the last 2 weeks, so it's not like recruiting's hurting in any way, shape, or form. But the most interesting thing I took away from that was just on the graduations that are expected this summer. Terrell Bernard, expected to graduate this summer, and will have still a couple of years of eligibility. Tyler Henderson on his way to 2 degrees, and he'll maybe have 3 years of eligibility left. So I just
mom
think,
was an athletic director at a school district, so
–
academics.
Sure.
Man,
Yeah, so I think that's awesome that's continuing on, because I think one thing that a lot of Baylor fans took pride in once, we hit this normal under Matt Rule was not only the play on the field, but I think it was the way they carried themselves off the field, and the fact that you were seeing guys get not just degrees, but meaningful degrees, not just, home ec and whatever, generic sports, whatever. They were getting into specific categories with their degrees to prepare them for life after football, and I'm glad to see that that's carrying over.
Baylor segment brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac. You know what? Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics, and they are there for you right now. Richard Carr Motors on Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Coming up next, we'll hear from Grayson Grundhafer on the latest commit, Sam Carroll. In fact, we'll hear from him in 30 minutes, Sam Carroll. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak. I'm David Smoak, and this is SicEm365 Radio. At Ideal MRI, in fact, I've been able to get back and forth with Dr. Rob Maxey, trade some suggestions for what we're doing to ask him if he wants to be more involved. And you can't get more involved. They're our title sponsor of this station. Fantastic business. They are right here in Central Texas, trying to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining the high quality of what you need, what you deserve, and what they represent. In today's world, healthcare has never been more important. Unfortunately, of course, significant illnesses and injuries still occur, so that's why you need Ideal MRI. They're open and they're here to serve you through this difficult time. Offering premium MRIs just like a hospital, state-of-the-art technology, and specialists. And you'll pay less, sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, they accept most insurance. No hidden cost, and even offering financing if you need it, and everything included in the price. You will not get some bill later on in the mail. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com. And give them a call. Give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI. And remember to follow CDC guidelines and practice the social distancing. Stay home except for essentials. Be safe. Together, we will get through this together at idealmri.com.
Our communities are facing unprecedented times. At Boozer's Jewelers, we care about you and your family. If you're like me, your home has unwanted or unused jewelry lying around. They can have value, and that means we can turn that jewelry into instant cash. This is a great way to get the most value from your unwanted jewelry. At Boozer's Jewelers, we buy all kinds of unused jewelry. So give us a call and let us give you peace of mind and cash for your unwanted or unused jewelry.
Waco, Texas, a place with its own unique history and a future bright with promise. Full of remarkable growth and opportunity, and what makes it all work is its people. Families, raising children, growing businesses. Wacoans are hardworking with a passion for what's next, and we're proud to be from here, helping Waco to grow and prosper. We are the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Grant Taft, and I'm a proud listener and supporter of the all-new SicEm365 Radio show with my friend David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak. SicEm.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We are open to support our community through this crisis. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Salsa drap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue.
Next in line. Hi, this is Mart High School football coach Kevin Hoffman, and I'm a proud listener and supporter of the all-new SicEm365 Radio show with David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
In this day and age, you must be able to change how you do business. Think outside the box to ensure that you service your customers. And at Waco Custom Marketplace, we've created our own drive-thru for your Monday, Wednesday, and Friday shopping needs, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So you can still order and enjoy from our great butcher shop and bakery, including 2 pounds of 8-ounce salmon fillets for $24.05, 2 pounds of 4-ounce catfish fillets for $4.90, sliced ham or turkey, American cheese and smoked sausage, fresh chicken breast, 3.5-pound whole chickens, sliced bacon, boneless pork chops, 80/20 ground beef, 4 pieces of sirloin steak or 4 pieces of ribeye steak from $19 to $35. Marinated beef or chicken fajita meat plus a loaf of bread. Fresh carrots in Idaho or red beet potatoes or white onions. Pinto beans and white rice, flour tortillas. So the great product, customer service, and tradition continues at Waco Custom Marketplace with a drive-thru only Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Well, if he has a voice. Here we go. SicEm365 Radio. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina. I'm David Smoak. We're going to hear from Grayson Grundhafer, SicEm365.com in just a moment. Also at 4:15, Sam Carroll, the latest commitment to Baylor football, will join us. A young man who's been all over the world in his lifetime. He'll join us at 4:15. We're now joined by Grayson Grundhafer. SicEm365.com covers recruiting, was all over this Sam Carroll commitment as well, as he was earlier in the week. Grayson, tell us a little bit about how Carroll was discovered and found out he's on the radar.
Yeah, really interesting. He's been kind of on the radar since maybe February, I think, is when he first started hearing from James Blanchard. And then as things progressed, he started to hear from Ron Roberts, and that kind of just built the relationships from the ground up, as you would say it, with them. So they found him. I think the biggest reason for it was his testing. He went to a rivals camp a little bit before, everything started happening with coronavirus, and he performed really, really well, and it kind of got him the comparison to James Lynch a little bit, which obviously when you're compared to a guy like that, that's not to be taken lightly. So, 6'4", 252 pounds, and he runs, sub 5.0 40 times. So he's got good athleticism to him, and that was a big reason why this offer came. And then he was just ready to go ahead and commit right when he got the offer.
So did they see position flex with him a little bit, like James Lynch could do with playing on the outside and maybe playing on the inside too?
Yeah, they do. And when I talked to him, he was talking about how, they kind of want his weight to get up to about 280 by the time he arrives at Baylor. He's already at 252. And, they see him as a 5-tech, but I think, like you said with James Lynch, there was a lot of versatility with him. And if Carroll can bring that same kind of pressure off the edge, then he'll have the ability to slide inside or play outside, which is a luxury nowadays in college football, especially if you're trying to run a 3-man front.
Sam Carroll is the third commit in the last 2 weeks for Baylor Grayson, and the second this week. Tevin Williams, you and I talked about him a little bit on Trust the Podcast for those who want to check out even more content on SicEm365.com each week. But your thoughts on Tevin Williams and what he brings to the table as a pledge?
Yeah, that's another one that was really big this week. And, he didn't have a ton of offers, and neither did Sam Carroll, but Tevin is one of those guys. He had Texas Tech, SMU, Air Force, but again, his testing was very elite. And he came to a camp at the end of July when Coach Rule's staff was here and ran in, 4.45, I believe. He's got a 10.7 500-meter time. So they really liked that part of his game. But Coach Randa's staff is the one that ended up offering him at the beginning of April. And to be honest, Tevin, when I talked to him, when he visited in July, Baylor was the place he wanted to go. He just didn't have an offer yet. So when he got the offer at the beginning of April, it was a pretty easy decision for him. And he's pretty locked in. Both these guys are very locked in. And I'll tell you, I heard from both of them, and I've heard schools have been coming after them and talking to them and putting out, kind of feelers and offers and wondering, why they committed so early. So I know the offer lists don't look amazing, but I'm telling you, a lot of schools are going to wish that they had gotten in on these two guys sooner.
That's exciting because it's interesting, because, for example, if a guy's under the radar, then what you call blue blood program all of a sudden offers and everybody else. But it's exciting that they're finding these golden, like these, I guess, diamonds in the rough. And, of course, now you got to hold on to it. But that seems to be what really Baylor has always had to kind of go that way, right?
Yeah, definitely. And, I'll tell you, Baylor has had some times where they'll get a kid, committed, and then as you go throughout the process, they're still kind of open, still want to talk to school, still going to keep their options open. But I asked both of these kids point blank, are you done with your recruitment 100% over? And both of them said, yes, I'm done, and I'm not collecting offers, something to that extent. And I know, Baylor fans are going to sit there and say, well, why don't you just collect offers to make it look better or whatnot? But that's not what it should be about, to be honest. And I mean, anyone that follows the 2017 class knows that wasn't the highest rated class, didn't have the most offers, but, look at what they were able to do last year with that Big 12, getting a team to the Big 12 championship. I know they had some other guys on the team, but it's not always about the offers, and that's kind of the way that Baylor has viewed it for a long time now.
You mentioned that. Do you think you see maybe with guys committing early and all this that we might be starting to see a shift of guys not just collecting 1,000 offers and say, here's my top 12 and just going where they want to go?
Yeah, I could see that. I think you're going to see a variety of ways that kids kind of go about it. I mean, right now we're seeing kids want to commit early, but that's kind of just in the Baylor scope of things. You're also going to see a lot of kids hold out and wait, all the way till February with the hopes of possibly visiting, their top 5 schools, taking official visits. But so I think it's going to kind of go both ways. But yeah, I can see it. There's a lot of kids that have been releasing off, their top 6, top 12, but most of those are saying, here's my top 6, but I'm still open to any other school. So you don't really know how you really feel about that, if you know what I mean.
Grayson, they've gone from having about a fifth of their class filled to in the last 2 weeks filling up about a third of their class. If you go by just on average, schools signing about 20 guys or so. But how much work is still being done on those open spots in regards to 2020 and potential transfers? How much is there still a focus as on the previous class as well?
Yeah, there's a ton of work that's still trying to get done in that regard. Obviously, Victor Obi signed, I believe that was a week ago, so he's locked in. But there's still some spots to be had, and they kind of got some bad news today, honestly. The Youngstown State defensive end Justice Reed, he committed to Virginia Tech. The Northern Iowa tight end Briley Moore committed to Kansas State. So both of those grad transfers are now off the board, and they, both had been linked to Baylor at some point. So right now, the big name that is still out there is the Arkansas State defensive end William Bradley King. He's kind of an outside linebacker hybrid type, and he was an all-Sun Belt first-team guy last year. So he's definitely a guy that Baylor is, trying to land late. And with April about to end, guys have to start making decisions. And I think you're also going to see Baylor really try to branch out their search a little bit, whether it's with JUCOs or just trying to find more grad transfers. But they're definitely trying to do some work in that regard. Yeah,
most of the grad transfers, obviously, from programs around the country, but now you have a commitment from New Mexico. You have one from Oklahoma, and there was another one.
Those are those two first out-of-state commits this week.
So that's kind of a nice trend that you do have the branch. Great and deep and thick talent that Texas is. You have to look elsewhere, and they've been able to do that, and they were able to do that with this most recent class. Grayson, it's been great to be a part of all this, watching you from behind the scenes and all the things that you and Jason King and Cole have posted. Fantastic. Keep up the good work. Thanks for being a part of the show on Fridays.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Grayson Grunhaver, SicEm365.com.
So that now brings their 2021 class to 7 total players. And since this show started 2 weeks ago, last Monday, 2 Mondays ago, there's been 3 commits that have joined this class. So they've almost doubled in size. But Jordan Jenkins, the running back out of Lindale, who we had on last week, Tevin Williams, cornerback out of Stillwater, Oklahoma, who we had on a couple of days ago, Cisco Kiston, safety out of Weatherford, Javon Gibson, wide receiver out of Richmond, Romario Noel, safety out of Cypress, Tyrone Brown, linebacker out of Orange, and Sam Carroll, defensive end out of New Mexico, who we'll hear from here in a few.
Jordan Jenkins was on our show, the debut show, a week ago Monday, and it seemed like that was 3 months ago.
Yeah.
It does.
But by the way, Tevin Williams pocket dialed me today as I was walking into workout, and I was like, hello? And he's like, hey. Oh, wait.
That's awesome.
Not who I was looking for.
Okay. All right, so that's an update from Grayson. We appreciate it. A couple of notes when we come back, including the former Rangers ballpark in Arlington, Globe Life Park, becomes now the site of some high school football games. A couple of NFL notes. A note from Daniel Jeremiah on the Baylor players after a question from Matt Roberts at Fox 44 and the conference call, plus much more. And then at 4:15, we'll hear from Sam Carroll, who committed to Baylor last night. This is SicEm365 Radio. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas. Our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Trust the doctors that Baylor trusts. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. And a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
Hi, this is Tyler Holcomb, Athletic Director and Head Football Coach at Bishop Louis Riker, and you're listening to SicEm365 Radio with David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, with Crown Royal Peach in stock right now and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Hi, this is Conley football coach Shane Anderson. I'm a proud listener and supporter of the all-new SicEm365 Radio show with David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
And it's Brewer keeping it to the outside. Brewer lays the shoulder, dive, touchdown.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget. Here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
So the WNBA draft tonight, Lauren Cox, Taya Cooper are going to be drafted. There's a chance La Vegas Juicy Landrum will be. You would hope maybe she'll have a chance, and if not internationally, obviously is in her future if otherwise.
You know, though, the international ball right now, what
a
cluster that is as well with the travel restrictions that we have. But, yeah, that'll be getting underway later on tonight at 6 o'clock on ESPN. So when we wrap up here, you can just transition from this great program right on into some WNBA draft. I know that's what Paul's going to do.
Somebody has to record the conference call.
That's true. That's true.
All right.
But
now,
yeah.
Arlington ISD and the Rangers have reached an agreement with high schools. They're going to play football at Globe Life Park. Some of the games, I lost the list of the games, but you're looking at the Cedar Hills, the DeSotos, the South Lake Carols, and names like that. I think Trinity. But they are going to announce 14 game minimum of 14 regular season games. Now, remember, the field was set up
for the XFL.
For the XFL. So it's there.
I've noticed as well that in this time where, many people, including ourselves, have unfortunately lost jobs in the last, few weeks, that a lot of editors have been getting cut as well from various TV stations and whatnot because, according to CBS Boston, the XLF went out of business a few days ago. It's the XFL, obviously. But, yeah, I noticed minor typos like that. But, yeah, they missed out on a good amount of money with the XFL agreement. So with the Dallas team no longer needing it, you've got to find other ways to use that facility, and certainly high school football in this state makes a ton of sense.
By the way, the chat room is available. Some of you, thank you for the questions, either during the interview with Joey McGuire or if you want to on our Twitter timelines, if you want to on the text line, brought to you by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, 254-339-1122. If you want to on the Willis Law Firm chat room line, you can do that as well. Your personal injury lawyers, call 1-800-GOT-HURT for a free case review. Willis Law Firm chat room, and some of you have done that. Now, one other quick note about a former Baylor commit. Just a quick story. This guy has struggled to try to keep a commitment. And then Paul Daniel Jeremiah from what he mentioned about Baylor players. So Tykees Crawford from Crawford from Carthage on the state championship team was committed to Baylor. Then I just almost knew the moment he was going to commit to Arkansas, the weekend after I went up for the East Texas Coaches Association Hall of Fame banquet a couple of years ago. You could just see that happening. Then that didn't happen.
No.
And now he has signed his national letter of intent with Charlotte.
So from what I recall with this young man, he was a good commit for Matt Rule and the staff when he made his commitment. The problem with it was that it came at a time when it was just in that early portion of recruiting to where you go, this young man looks like he's going to probably get a lot more attention. And I don't know how locked in he is on, holding firm with this decision for the next year and a half. If all of a sudden school A, B, and C start to call up. And in fact, that's what happened. And I may have the timeline a little out of sorts, but best I remember, he committed to Baylor. That didn't last a whole long while before he had eventually, I believe, flipped to Texas. And then that didn't last for I think that might have lasted for a few weeks, months, whatever. And then, eventually there started being JUCO talk, and then it was Arkansas because of, Jeff Traylor and that staff. And then it was, hey, you're going to like Navarro or wherever it was. And now he's good for him, been able to find a D1 landing spot. But, from a Baylor commit to a Texas commit to an Arkansas commit to signing with Charlotte is what his journey was.
Yeah, that's unfortunate how that plays out like that with guys that get wrapped up in either being indecisive or they get wrapped up with I'm going here and there. That's why you need to I think the best thing is mostly keep it to yourself. Don't tweet out a top 4. Don't you just go about your business, because once you tweet out, I saw a guy the other day that put out all 20 offers. Mm-hmm. He did a graphic of 20. All 20 offers he'd gotten, which is not necessarily his top 20.
But
what if 19 of them he doesn't like? And he's just waiting for 20 more. I mean, he's going to get 20. He's probably going to have 40.
Sure.
But all the 20 offers he'd received, he was a rising junior. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, well, you can't, now what you've done, and this is intentional, he wants attention from all these 20 fan bases.
Sure.
So he wants somebody from Boston College and from Florida and from USC and Washington to all be like, oh, you got to come here. It's great. And it's, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, while he was busy, yo-yo, and I don't want to, talk too bad about him. I'm sure he's a great young man. I'm sure he is. But, while you're playing the recruiting game, you're not playing the school game. And that's what landed you in the position to where, some schools had to be wary of your academics and in part why you landed at Charlotte ultimately.
So the draft is a week from yesterday, and then again tonight, and then again tomorrow. Daniel Jeremiah was on a Q&A. This is so much fun whenever we've had a chance to visit with him. But he did a Q&A. One of the questions out of 2 hours or so was about the Baylor football players.
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I'm talking to GMs in the evenings. Like, one of the things, the question I always get is, who are you higher on than everybody else you talk to? And the guy is Graylin Arnold for me. I like Graylin Arnold a lot. I know he's undersized, a little over 5'9", 186 pounds, but he's got production. He's just really instinctive. He's fluid and smooth. He buzzes under these routes in every game I watch. He had a 71-yard return against Oklahoma on a pick. He's just a playmaker. So he's my 103rd player, but I think I'm higher on him than the majority of the league. I also, I have a decent grade on Clay Johnston, the linebacker. I see him getting picked late. I know he missed the 8 games, but he's got range. He does a nice job playing over the top of blocks. The Iowa State game was outstanding. I thought felt like he made every tackle in that game, and he's a good blitzer. And then Hasty, it's such a good running back group. I think he's probably going to be a late guy or a free agent, but he's got stop-start quickness. He's good in the screen game, and if he gets to the alley, he's gone. I thought he played a lot faster than his 4.55. And then Roy Bravian, who didn't go to the combine, but saw him down at the East-West. He's got some production as an inside pass rusher. Thought he had a good week down there. You see him with a quick little swim move. He's got something to him. I think he's got a chance to get picked late. And then Chris Miller, the last one. Wish he had more production, and just not a lot of production there. I know he added a little bit of weight from the NFLPA game to the combine. I think he put on like 10 pounds, but he'd be a good free agent for me.
And just real quickly, if I could just follow up on that real quick. Obviously, playing under Matt Rule last year, obviously brought an NFL mindset now in the NFL himself. Is there any sense that playing under Coach Rule has better prepared these guys to kind of make that jump?
No, I think so. Matt's just got such a great reputation, and you're going to get kids that are going to be physically and mentally tough that have played for Coach Rule. So that helps. That helps. It makes it a lot easier to sell these guys in the room. I think some people would love to. I'd love to be able to bring a bunch of people in the draft room and see how the process goes, but it's almost like it's like a sales pitch with scouts. And you get in there and you kind of make your case, and it's a lot easier when you can sell not only these players, but where they come from and how they've been coached. It makes it a lot easier to make that a convincing argument in the room.
Daniel Jeremiah, NFL.com. I looked at the entire transcript, and there's on everybody. Every player you could imagine is listed. He did say this. There's, out of his top 100, the most he can ever remember wide receivers among the top 100 names, 18 of them. Denzel Mims is, I believe, one among, Judy and CeeDee Lamb and the others. But he says he could remember 15 one year, but 18 of the top 100 players, as far as just how they're projected, not who they're going to go to, 18 of the 100 are wide receivers.
So why would you take one in the first round unless you were just bowled over?
That's a great question.
So,
unless you just think they're so much better, yeah.
I mean, to me...
Or a fit for what you do.
Yeah. To me, I think there's a gap between, say, Ruggs, Judy, CeeDee Lamb. I'm probably leaving one other guy out. There's like 4 of them that you'd probably go, yeah, let's get this guy early. And then the rest of them that if you're in the 28 to whatever range, yeah, maybe.
Just let one fall. Let one fall to you.
Yeah, we're not going to see necessarily everybody have to rush to get a guy, but what will be interesting is once the first one's off the board, what kind of a domino effect that causes to others saying, oh, well, Lamb's gone, I got to go get Judy now. Oh, well, Judy's gone, I got to go get this guy now. And, there's a lot of talented players. I think it speaks very highly of Denzel Mims that he's not only amongst that cluster, but he's also near the top of that group. I mean, at worst, he's probably like the number 5 receiver. So it set him up really well to potentially, depending on what kind of a run there could be, he could be a late first-round pick because somebody just feels like, hey, man, if we wait too much longer, this guy's going to be gone. Or, an early second-round pick almost at worst. So his prospects are looking really good.
He's in the group to me with Laviska Shenault and...
I just like the name, and he was good.
The kid from Arizona State and T. Higgins are all kind of right there together.
Drop some names.
But that was interesting to hear about some guys that we haven't been able to really hear all that much about. I mean, we hear a ton about Denzel, and we hear a lot about James Lynch, but we don't hear a lot about the other guys. So, you just had Joey McGuire feeling like they could have 10 to 12 guys in camps when all is said and done. And obviously just being in camps is different than making the 53, but you want the opportunity. And, I mean, right there you got Lynch, Mims, Arnold, he believes, will get drafted late. Clay Johnston, a late draft pick. Jermichael Hasty, a late pick or a free agent. Bravion Roy, sounds like a late pick. Chris Miller, a free agent. So that's 7 guys right there. And he did not mention Jamison Houston, who we talked to a few days ago, who I think will at least make a camp for a team. Blake Lynch, who we've heard nothing about practically, which is surprising just because of his size and his measurables, but also
his character.
And his character, but I understand too that he moved around a lot, so his film's probably a little wonky looking because it's like 4 different years, 4 different positions.
All right, so coming up next, Sam Carroll committed to Baylor yesterday evening. He will join us, and what a story about where he's been in his lifetime. Also today at 4:30, former Baylor great Dennis Gentry. We'll hear from David Murphy, baseball player David Murphy, and so much more. Graylin Arnold will appear on our show on Monday at 5:30.
Nice.
This is SicEm365 Radio.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like these, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illness and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI. And please, remember to follow CDC guidelines and practice social distancing. Stay home, except for the essentials, and be safe. Together, we'll get through this.
Hi, this is Grant Taft, and I'm a proud listener and supporter of the all-new SicEm365 Radio Show with my friend David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak. SicEm.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
This is Waco, and this is Boozer's Jewelers. When locals want luxurious jewelry and at a competitive price, they come here. This is Brad Boozer. He's the owner of Boozer's Jewelers. Boozer's is the premier wedding ring store. They specialize in loose diamonds and wedding rings. At Boozer's, they have 7 jewelry counters dedicated to wedding rings and diamonds only. They also specialize in heirloom jewelry, custom jewelry, watches, and much, much more. So what are you waiting for? Stop on in today and discover why the locals trust Boozer's for their jewelry.
In this day and age, you must be able to change how you do business. Think outside the box to ensure that you service your customers. And at Waco Custom Marketplace, we've created our own drive-thru for your Monday, Wednesday, and Friday shopping needs, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So you can still order and enjoy from our great butcher shop and bakery, including 2 pounds of 8-ounce salmon fillets for $24.05, 2 pounds of 4-ounce catfish fillets for $4.90, sliced ham or turkey, American cheese and smoked sausage, fresh chicken breast, 3.5-pound whole chickens, sliced bacon, boneless pork chops, 80/20 ground beef, 4 pieces of sirloin steak or 4 pieces of ribeye steak from $19 to $35. Marinated beef or chicken fajita meat plus a loaf of bread. Fresh carrots and Idaho or red beet potatoes or white onions. Pinto beans and white rice, flour tortillas. So the great product, customer service, and tradition continues at Waco Custom Marketplace with a drive-thru only Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hey guys, Scott Stewart here, head football coach of the Fighting Wildcats from Temple High School in Temple by God, Texas, and you're listening to SicEm365 Radio with David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
From Temple by God, Texas. That is so. He is eaten up as you are with the Temple Wildcats. Appreciate that, Coach. Thanks to Grant Taft, Jeff Hume, and others. All right, so another commitment for Dave Aranda and the Baylor coaching staff. Sam Carroll joins us now from New Mexico, and what a story he has to say. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina, and I'm David Smoak. It's Sam Enrique Carroll.
Yes,
sir. I got that right. And that's something obviously you're very proud of. You called me back, say, hey, by the way, it's Sam Enrique Carroll. I did my homework. I got it right. And welcome to the show. How was your day so far today?
I'm doing pretty good, sir. How about you?
We're doing really, really well. By the way, you hear that sir in there? Paul and I, both military brats. Sam's a military brat. You've seen the entire world. We can get into some of the places. Don't you feel like, Sam, in a way that you feel like, and how do you feel about being so much more well-rounded because you've been everywhere?
I just feel like I can connect to people better, and just like I can learn to talk to people, and I've learned to connect with them better.
So, where is the place that would you call a place your hometown, or do you have one because you're a military brat?
I wouldn't really say I have a hometown, but I would always call Florida my home place because that's what I remember the most living as a young kid.
Sam, what's recruiting been like for you? Obviously, you made the decision to come to Baylor being your choice, but just the process itself. Guys have different sorts of stories. What's the process been like for you?
It's been pretty long, to be honest. I'm just glad that it's over now, that I've found a good school and I've committed. But honestly, it was a little tough at some points because I would be texting all these coaches, but I still wouldn't have any offers. So
does it matter? It obviously means a lot that they were the ones that offered you, and it's early. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that learn more and more about Sam Enrique Carroll. You seem to be. We had Grayson Grunhafer on earlier in the show, and he said you are committed. So what does that actually mean?
It means that I'm engaged, honestly. After I graduate, I'm going to head out to Baylor, and I'm going to start my freshman year there.
You've been to Japan twice, Florida twice, Kansas City, Missouri. Your father was stationed at the Pentagon. Actually, you were born in Japan as well, and Albuquerque is where you are right now.
Yes, sir.
Is that not a typical military brat life right there? That's
it probably is, honestly. It's just crazy moving around like every other 2 or 3 years. But honestly, I think it's built me for who I am today.
You mentioned that you were in Japan, and I was there. My dad was also in the Pentagon. But did you say you were in Okinawa? Where was it? Where was it in Okinawa? The Philippines? Where else?
No, I've only lived in Okinawa, Japan.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Now this is Sam Enrique Carroll with us on SicEm365 Radio.
Sam, what was it about the Baylor staff? How did those conversations originate? Like, who was the coach who first initially reached out to you? And then as those conversations developed, can you just describe the relationships you were able to build and how you got to that comfort level of deciding, hey, these are the guys that I want to play for the next 3-4 years?
The first coach that reached out to me was Coach Blanchard, and he's been so much help. Like, I appreciate that man a lot. And it's just like they had a lot of faith in me, and they just had a lot of faith in me, and I was just excited when they first started calling me and everything. And it's been like a fun ride.
You recruited as a defensive end. I saw a video of you dunking a ball with both hands. Obviously, you have some skills there. What was your favorite sport growing up, and why did football end up being the sport?
My favorite sport growing up was probably basketball, or definitely, actually not probably, it was basketball, because I started playing basketball in 6th grade, but all throughout middle school, when I lived in Virginia, Washington, D.C. area, they had weight limits, and I was too big at the time to play for middle school. So I had to wait till my freshman year to begin my first year of football.
I remember those days when I was at Pop Warner.
I remember Pop Warner getting weighed in before games. Yeah.
I never had to deal with that. But there's always the guy that was like, oh my God, is Bobby Steele going to make? Is he going to make the weight?
Is Sam gonna be able to play this week? Yeah.
He's over there spitting as much as he can, like drinking a lot of water so he can get rid of a lot of water. So, oh my goodness. Now, your father's military. Was it Air Force, Army? What is it?
It's Air Force.
Air Force.
He's a colonel.
A colonel in the Air Force. Wow, that's even more impressive. But it's great. He serves our country, and you also have the kind of the potpourri or the ability. Your mom from the Dominican Republic who moved to the United States when she was 13. Tell us a little bit about her and maybe her life.
Well, when she moved to the United States, she lived right outside New York City in New Jersey, in Passaic, New Jersey, and she never taught me Spanish, which I wish she taught me Spanish, but I love her so much, and she's helped me throughout so much. She always motivates me every day. She helps me out. In the morning, when I say bye to her, everything, I love her so much.
Sam, who was the first person that kind of brought to your attention you had ability to play college football, that you had an ability to be the type of player that could get a scholarship offer? When did that dream get onto your radar, and who was responsible for kind of helping you along that way?
I would say my father is definitely responsible for pushing my dream for helping me pursue my dream of playing college football. He's always been there since the start. He's been the first one to think I could get a scholarship and go to a big school. And I just thank him so much for having seen that in me.
Baseball, softball, baseball, basketball, football throughout his life, Paul.
So inside, outside, where do you see yourself playing? Or are you one of those guys who's just put the shoulder pads on and tell me who to hit?
I see myself playing as the end. I think I have the most potential there with my long arms and my really lengthy body, and I think the end is my spot. But I'll play for whatever's best for the team, to be honest.
So, how tall and what's your height and weight right now?
My height and weight right now, I would say I'm 6'4" and I'm 252.
What do you think is your growth chart of where you could be comfortable? You know you're going to pack on even more weight and pounds, nutrition, all that when you get to college, if not between now and then. What do you estimate you might get to?
I'm seeing myself get to 6'5", hopefully, and weighing 280 pounds and being straight muscle. And as athletic as I can be.
Have they told you about the bank or the Beecham Athletic Nutrition Center where you're probably going to be having a lot of meals? Was that part of the recruiting pitch?
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to get to Baylor.
I think that's most players' favorite part is the good food over at the bank.
By the way, I just want to say that I'm a little mad at Sam right now just because he's already 6'4" and he wants to be 6'5", and I'm 5'7", and
you want to be 5'8".
And I would give anything when people say 5'10" and he's kind of short. I'm like, hey, shut up.
Yeah,
I still am one of those that it's bothered me that I never was 5'11". Like that's a difference between 5'11" and 5'10". I always put 5'10 and a half, like it made a difference.
Yeah.
How much of an influence, and we've heard this from others that we've spoken with, either players that have been offered by Baylor or those who have committed, and even some that have already signed. How much, and can you try to describe your relationship with James Blanchard?
Oh, he's been so great. He's texted me at least once every 3 days. We've been texting a lot. He's been calling me. I've been just having small talk with him, as not even as a football, from person to person. He's been so nice and awesome.
Sam, how much do you know about the rest of this recruiting class, and do you know much about any of the other 6 guys that you're now joining as part of the 2021, or is that just something that as time goes by you're going to get to know those guys more and more?
I think as time goes by, I'll get to know those guys more. But I've seen a couple of them that look like studs.
All right, one more thing. Speaking of that, you hurt yourself your sophomore year. You had a sprained MCL. You had to go through a little bit of some surgery, not for the MCL. Explain what you went through and how quickly you bounced back to get back into athletics.
So I went in I sprained my MCL, and then they wanted to go in and clean up the meniscus. So they cleaned up the meniscus, and I was done, and I was playing basketball in 6 weeks. I played that whole basketball season after I got that surgery.
Toughness, huh? Wow. Hey, good luck. Thanks for your time. It was great talking to you. I know Enrique is a part of your name. You wanted me to stress your that Sam Enrique is Enrique. That means quite a bit to you.
Yes, it does, because it's just what's in my blood. My mom's a part of me, and she was the one who gave me that middle name. So I'm just gonna go by it.
Hey, Sam, I'm going to put a tweet with just a couple of things that you had to say as far as your background goes. Enrique, is it just Enrique? Am I doing that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Well, I'll have that up.
Sam Enrique Carroll with us on ESPN Central Texas. Hey, young man, thanks for your time. We'll talk to you soon. This is SicEm365 Radio. I will be in just a little bit. I'm going to drop by and see my good friends, the Bauer family at Waco Custom Marketplace. Yes, there's social distancing. Yes, it's not open, but it is. The drive-thru right now at Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, is open. You can drive up to the front, move around to the right-hand side of the building. You'll see the big banner drive-thru and an arrow. Takes you around the back, and you can then fill out a form of what you want, kind of like almost a menu. Kind of looks like one of those sushi menus. You can check what you want. They will then bring the product, get it together, meet you on the side, you pay, they give you the product, and you drive away. That was very much thinking outside the box because they didn't have a drive-thru. Now they do. They've had it really since all of this started with the coronavirus. Bauer family just does it right. They're amazing. Whether you want bone-in ribeyes or you want bacon-wrapped fillets, if you want just turkey meat maybe for sandwiches or ham, a loaf of bread, and much more, the bakery continues to crank out what they have, which is all the time, and the meat market is fantastic, along with the butcher shop, to customize an order for you. It's Waco Custom Marketplace. The drive-thru is open until 6 tonight. 6 tonight. You have an hour and a half. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodward. PettyClinicLowT.com.
An Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like these, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illness and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI. And please, remember to follow CDC guidelines and practice social distancing. Stay home, except for the essentials, and be safe. Together, we'll get through this.
Our communities are facing unprecedented times. At Boozer's Jewelers, we care about you and your family. If you're like me, your home has unwanted or unused jewelry lying around. They can have value, and that means we can turn that jewelry into instant cash. This is a great way to get the most value from your unwanted jewelry. At Boozer's Jewelers, we buy all kinds of unused jewelry. So give us a call and let us give you peace of mind and cash for your unwanted or unused jewelry.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas. Our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Trust the doctors that Baylor trusts. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
We will hear from former Baylor great running back Dennis Gentry. You know, we had the poll up yesterday about the best running back in the decade of 2010 to 2019. Shock Linwood edged Lake Seastrunk also in that poll, getting votes. Terrence Ganaway, Jay Finley, there would have been others, Glasgow Martin among some others, and some of the guys who were still a part of it, like Hasty's name was brought up by some of you as well. But Dennis Gentry now, he could go. And then eventually was a part of that fantastic, maybe the best dominant Super Bowl team of all time, the 85 Bears.
I'm a little bit familiar with them, not too much. I did not get to experience full Bears pandemonium back then, but I have seen the documentaries and the old commercials and things like that, and that was a fun team to be a part of, I am sure.
No question, and they were characters, and they had fun, and I mean, they could flat out beat people up. They could absolutely make you pay. They were as dominant a Super Bowl team as ever. Former Baylor and Chicago Bears running back Dennis Gentry now with us on SicEm365 Radio. Dennis, first of all, as always, thank you very much for being a part of the show. And we want to get obviously into memories at Baylor and all the things you did, but could you imagine, I know you're biased as you should be, but was there ever a more dominant Super Bowl team than the 85 Bears?
There's no other team as dominated than us. I'm bragging, man. No, hey guys, we had a great team. And we had in the middle and Hampton and Dent on the ends. We had a great, and plus we were a little bit cocky too because we made the Super Bowl Sheffield in November.
Oh yeah, November. You got 2 full months, and you just leaned right into it. Did Coach Ditka, did he kind of encourage that, or was he just kind of trying to guide that ship and make sure that confidence didn't go awry?
Well, actually, he didn't know about it at first, but when he found out about it, he said, "Hey, you guys did it, so let's go ahead and finish the season on top so that video can be exposed."
You hear about some of the best running backs ever that caught the football out of the backfield. You know, Larry Centers is a name, Chuck Foreman's a name, going old school as well. But you also were very deadly out of the backfield. Was that something that's because you also had your carries, but that's what you did along with your greatness when it came to special teams? What was that? You just knew your role and you had to be patient to see a set up, a third down and whatever?
Well, when I first got, Smoke, when I first got drafted, I was 175 pounds as a running back. And that's unheard of now, being that small. But in my second contract, Victor called me and I said, "Oh, I'm trying to hold out. You know, I only had a few carries behind 8, and I'm trying to hold out." So he called me. I said, "Oh, God, he getting ready to trade me or get rid of me or something because I don't have enough leverage. You know, amount of carries I had." He called me and I called him back. He said, "We're gonna give you a new contract, but we're gonna change your position." I said, "To what?" He said, "Rover." I never heard of a rover. It's a running back / receiver. And that's how they came about, me being a back there running routes out of the backfield.
Would then you have been even more deadly than you were in today's football with slot receivers being so important?
Oh, most definitely. I still have had 30 receptions a season. I would have had 130 receptions a season. Man, that's, you know, what really got Dennis McKinnon on the outside, clear, you know, going deep, and I had the middle to work with. Man, I'm still playing at 60 years old.
When you came to Baylor, what was it that hooked you in? Was it Coach Taft? Was it something else that really roped you into Baylor?
Well, when I was in high school, I got all these letters saying, you know, this and this, the teams and everybody. I never got an offer. Grant Taft called me and said he and Coach Hicks called me, and I flew in, and they offered me a scholarship just to return kicks. Just to return kicks, and I ended up playing fullback, blocking for Abercrombie.
You did the dirty work for Walter.
I did the dirty work. He was like 25. He was 25 pounds larger than me. He should give me some of his money.
What were you the year he was brought in to go play? He was a freshman. I don't know. I think you were there. He was a freshman. Something happened with the running backs, and he got on the bus to drive the College Station, and Grant Taft said, "Hey, you're starting." Were you the fullback for that game?
No, I got redshirted after my freshman year. I got redshirted. And we went there, and all the running backs got hurt. You know, I guess during season, and Walter was only a healthy running back at that time, and that was the game. Matter of fact, he did a great job. His first game, he was over 200 yards. His first game.
Going back to
against A&M. Against A&M.
Yep.
Going back to you receiving that scholarship offer from Grant Taft, I mean, you said you got a bunch of letters, but no actual scholarship offers. So when that moment happened, I can imagine that was pretty special to know, you know, college ball is going to get paid for. But what was that like for you personally?
Well, he gave me I said, "Where do I sign?" He gave me a pen so quickly. I signed it. I kept the pen. That's how excited I was, because I just, you know, coming from a large family, didn't have very much as a young kid. You know, lost my mother and everything. I had to accept whatever was given, offered to me. And Grant Taft, what really jumpstarted my career, because I didn't know I was going to be able to, you know, to play college football. I had a couple of offers to walk on, but I didn't have the money to do anything. So I was blessed to be offered to come to Baylor.
You mentioned your mother, obviously, that you didn't. She passed away when you were young. I'm not sure the circumstances. I don't need to get those details. But who then became the person that you relied on as you were a young man growing up before you got into college?
Myself.
Okay.
I became an adult quickly, because my dad, it was 9 of us in a 2-bedroom home. So we had to grow up quickly and mature quickly to make something of ourselves.
Man, what a great story that is. I mean, that you were able to do that, because that's when you hear about you could get lost.
That's a crossroads.
Yeah. You could.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did you ever have a moment where you were at that point where you could have been at the crossroads and gone the wrong direction, and you just found a way to either get out of anything, or you just made the right decision?
Well, no, there's, when you're growing up, you're always, there's always temptation. But I had 2 coaches that really took me up under their wing, and made sure I was on the straight and narrow, and that was Cotton Davidson and Wade Turner. Wade Turner was like a second dad to me. Those two coaches kept me on the straight and narrow.
Would it have been hard under coaches like Coach Taff and Coach Davidson to really? I mean, everybody has an opportunity to stray, but because of the way that they are or were, would it have been really hard? Would you have been kind of overrun with guilt even trying to do something bad?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just, I know growing up, there's like I said earlier, there's so many negative roads you could have gone down to see what's going on. Because I came from a Christian family. My dad's a pastor, and my four brothers are pastors, and I'm the knucklehead. So I didn't get a chance to taste the grits till I got to college. So that I had a lot of opportunity to stray in the other direction, but there's always something or someone always grabbed my shirt collar and told me, nah, you don't need to go that direction.
So Dennis,
I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dennis, you're originally from Lubbock, and you went to Dunbar High School out there. I actually lived in Lubbock for a couple years, and I learned that it's not close to anything, really. It is a long drive from everywhere. So for you as a young man, had you really been outside the realm of Lubbock, Texas all that much before college, or was that like a whole new world opening up to you when you stepped foot at Baylor?
I had never gone anywhere, never had a vacation or anything like that. So I left Lubbock and came to Baylor. You're exactly right. It was like leaving Lubbock and going to Houston, different place, And Lubbock is bigger than Waco, but it seemed like it was just like a bigger city, I guess, because of Baylor University.
So when you are playing with the Bears in '85, they obviously had the documented 15-0 record and then Miami, but in one of those stretches, you outscored the Falcons and the Cowboys 80-0, including you destroyed Dallas in their own backyard 44-0, and you scored the game's last points. What was that like? Yeah. What was that like to be a part of a destruction of them, and that's the team that you were closest to growing up?
Oh man, it was great because I was a Dallas Cowboy fan growing up. I was a Tony Dodd-Stad, Calvin Hill, all those guys. I was a Cowboy fan, Starback and all that. But when you get a chance to play the Dallas Cowboys, coming there, scoring the last touchdown, I was so excited. I had a dance with her scoring the last touchdown. I was so excited, I didn't get to do one dance.
Like Billy White Shoes Johnson dance?
No, I had something a little bit more special, but they probably would have fined me if I had a dance. So it was a good thing I didn't.
Man.
So being a part of the '85 Bears, a team like there are teams, especially in cities that are so iconic. When you get a chance to go back to Chicago, what has it meant for just your life and your career post football that you always have that to kind of go to? And what do people in Chicago? How do they react when you meet people who are fans of the '85 Bears?
I go back and do autograph appearances quite a bit, and when I go back, it's like I just played a game a couple of weeks ago there. The best sports city in the world is Chicago. They treat you as if you were still playing. It is a great place to be and a great place to play.
Dennis Gentry went from the Baylor Bears to the Chicago Bears. That made it easy, right?
That made it real easy.
Yeah. That little different colors, but so when you watch your alma mater, you've seen what they've done. When you left, they were still a couple of pretty good years. Then they had some lean years. And then they had the decade of 2010 and 2019 was probably their most successful decade ever. They had some ups and downs. They had a issue, of course, back in Art Briles was fired, but you see what they've done, and then you've seen them recover and where they are now a new coaching staff. How often do you get to watch your alma mater and keep up with what they're doing?
I keep up with them quite a bit because I don't go to a lot of practice. I'm going to go this year. But I keep up with him quite a bit because I'm real good friends with Walter Abercrombie. He works over there. And when I want to go over there and want to know something, I rely on him. I give him a call, and he invites me to the practices and stuff. But I didn't get a chance to go the last couple of years because I spent a lot of time going back and forth to Chicago for appearances. But this year with the new coach and new staff, I'm gonna try to get over there and see the practice and be a part of it.
Dennis, being such a lethal kick returner as you were, what is the secret to being a great return man? Obviously, you got to have some vision and you got to have some speed, but not just every athlete with vision and speed is a capable kick returner. So what is the secret being back there and being as good as you were at returning kicks?
Running for your life. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's got to be scheme. You know, we never count the outside guys. The ones, you got the kicker, then 5 guys on each side of the kicker. We never counted the ones, which was the last guy on the outside. Because when we were returning kicks, we never ran the ball sideways. We stayed inside the hash. And we focused on blocking from the numbers in. And if when you break and go outside, you're not protected. And the key to that is run the ball between the numbers.
Mm-hmm. You know, you made it to the Baylor Hall of Fame, the Athletic Hall of Fame. We've had Alfred Anderson on, among Mike Singletary on, among others, in fact, the last couple of weeks. Do you have to be halfway just nuts to be a kick returner anyway?
No, not really. You got to be scared because you have some guys coming down at full speed, north and south, and you're running to them north and south.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you got to have some courage too, because that's a part of the game where some protection could break down any moment, and you're on your own.
We also had J.J. Joe, Gary Don Johnson. These are just some of the names we've had on that are a part of the Baylor Athletic Hall of Fame. It's been fun, kind of reminiscing. Dennis, thanks for responding to me earlier this week. We're so happy to have you on the show.
Okay, thank you. Let's do this again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Dennis Gentry, Baylor Bears, Chicago Bears, Super Bowl champion in 1985. He's among the top 10 all-time leading rushers in Baylor history.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and was a member of that Peach Bowl championship team back in '79 that beat Clemson, and they had also played, Alabama the year after and lost in the Cotton Bowl, I do believe, in 1980, but that was a 10-win team, got creamed by Alabama in the bowl game. That was a 10-win Baylor team under Grant Taft. So, yeah, he was a part of some good ones, then right into the NFL where he's a Super Bowl champion, so not a bad deal there.
So that's Dennis Gentry. We appreciate his time. We got a couple of notes. The big, strong, muscle-headed referee, I know there's more than one, but one of them that did a lot of games in the Big 12 is headed to the NFL. And the reaction from a lot of people in the media on Twitter has been kind of funny about Mike DeFee. It's 447. SicEm365 Radio continues. One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We are open to support our community through this crisis. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Salsa drap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue.
Next in line.
Waco, Texas, our city of remarkable growth and opportunity with an even brighter future ahead. What makes it all work is our people living, working, and growing together. And we're proud to be from here, helping and serving the community we call home. We are the First National Bank of Central Texas, taking great pride in being locally owned and operated. Come see us at any of our 5 convenient locations. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Riverbend Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, with Crown Royal Peach in stock right now and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
One quick note, officiating note, NFL, Mike DeFee has moved into a front office position in the NFL, probably to work with Walt Anderson. He was the one that got a little bit almost too large. Not because he gained weight. He had the monstrous arms. He refereed the Big 12 for a long, long time, and also
looked like he was wearing an extra medium.
Yes, exactly. And he was also the guy who officiated the College Football National Championship game in 2017. He is from started working high school football in Texas. Has started his career. We're now joined by Teddy Cahill, Baseball America. You know, it's interesting because yesterday, Hunter Jarman is a scout, advanced amateur scout for the Padres. We'll have David Murphy here in a moment, and how baseball just, boom, it was gone, like so many other sports. Teddy, you know, how do you go about, what have you gone about doing to cover college baseball when there is nothing to cover?
Yeah, it was definitely an adjustment. You know, I woke up when the day they canceled the College World Series, I woke up knowing that things were going to get canceled. I just didn't know that the World Series was going to get canceled that day, so it was jarring. And there was a lot of news initially, and we've kind of moved past that point, and now I get to do some more, you know, digging on some things that I've kind of had on my to-do list if I ever had time, and well, now I have time to do things like that. So this week I did a survey of coaches, who the most underrated head coach in the country was. You know, we've got a series on our podcast rewatching classic games, and then we discuss it with someone who played in them. So we've found some stuff to do, and it's I've enjoyed it, and I think our readers and listeners have continued to stay engaged, which has been really nice to see.
Teddy, with the seniors able to come back next year, obviously for some guys this is great news. For some guys it's indifferent news because they'd be moving on. How do you think coaches will navigate all of this, especially if the draft happens to be shortened because of coronavirus?
Yeah, it's really tricky in baseball. You know, I've seen administrators or coaches in other sports talk about, like, well, I know exactly how many seniors are coming back. Well, in baseball, you can't really know. Like, the senior could tell you he intends to come back, but if he gets a chance to sign professionally, they might take that, and you know, no one's going to begrudge them that. So it's complicated. Baseball coaches are used to this complication. I think that a lot of them are happy for the kids that they get the opportunity to go out on their terms if that's what they choose, and they're just glad that they have some guidance now. There were a couple of weeks while the decisions were being made where everything was very up in the air. Well, now at least they know the parameters they're working with, and they just have to lock down some of the details. But it's not every senior is going to come back. I don't even know that a majority of the seniors will take this opportunity in baseball because there are just a lot of factors that go into making a decision like that. And in a partial scholarship sport, if you've already graduated, you then have to weigh, is it worth going on and taking a graduate degree just to play another year of baseball, or is it worth slow playing my graduation to take another year of baseball? So there's a lot that goes into it, but I think that coaches in baseball are used to balancing the draft, balancing 11.7 scholarships, and they're pretty adept at this stuff. So they'll figure it out this summer, I think.
Teddy, for the bulk of prospects, is missing out on a senior season of high school ball or missing out on that final year of college ball, is that detrimental at all in the scouting process as far as their stock goes? Or guys at this point, because they've been scouted for so long in a game like baseball, already pretty much projected where they were going to be?
There are certain players that it's definitely detrimental for, and there's certain players that it doesn't really matter much for. And so it kind of depends on where you are. You know, the very top guys were probably going to be the very top guys no matter what. I mean, I guess in some ways it actually is advantageous to them because it means they aren't going to get hurt or they aren't going to have bad sprains and fall backwards. But if you were a guy that was hoping to go the other way, that if you got off to a really nice 3 or 4 week start in college baseball or in your high school season, if you've been able to get playing like that and you know, in some of the more warm weather states, you know, then it's detrimental. And, you know, it just kind of depends on where you are and what kind of player you are. But definitely some kids got hurt by it. I would say that it matters a little bit less for the high school kids, that generally what they do in the summer leading into their senior year is probably the thing that gets weighed the most heavily when evaluating them as draft prospects. But for the college kids, the spring can be very useful for a lot of them.
Teddy Cahill with Baseball America. Thanks to Rachel Caton for setting this up for us. Top 25 seniors we want to see in college baseball in 2021. One of them at 18 was Baylor catcher Andy Thomas, and he has made that decision, as has Lekich and Logan Freeman, among others, to return. Tell us your thoughts about Andy Thomas.
Well, he's been a really good hitter for them the last couple of years. I feel like he was a little overshadowed by guys like Wenzel and Langoliers last year. You know, there were the big names and the All-Americans. But Andy Thomas put together a really nice season. I think he was off to a little bit of a slower start this year, but it's probably only going to be a matter of time before he turned it back around. And he's an important piece for them to have back. You know, both from a defensive standpoint, just as, you know, that kind of anchor behind the plate, but also, you know, he's a guy that hits in the middle of the order. So that's a big player for Baylor to have back. And he's a fun player as well. He's just got a good attitude when you talk to him. And so it's exciting that we will get to see a little bit more of him in college baseball.
Is there a team in a weird way that could benefit from this, that might have had some talent, but, you know, maybe would have fallen down the stretch just because of youth that might be able to bounce back?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. That, you know, one thing that we often see in college baseball is that anyone outside of the traditional power structure, whether that's within a conference or a team in a mid-major conference even, they tend to have a little bit more success when they're older. So if you have an older group, you know, that usually helps in college baseball. And, you know, it can help make up for a talent deficiency because you have older players. So, you know, a team like McNeese State in the Southland, you know, they had a nice group of seniors this year and were the preseason favorites. They were off to a pretty nice start, and they've made kind of a big deal of expecting a lot of those guys back. And if that comes to fruition, that's a team that maybe is even better because now those guys are 23 instead of 22. Or in the Big 12, Oklahoma's already announced 6 of their 7 seniors are back, and that was a team that had played their way into the top 10 already. So maybe teams like that, it helps. But you also have to balance the fact that if you have those guys coming in, maybe you don't have some of your newcomers, or you don't have your newcomers on the field. And then what does that mean for you? Maybe not in 21, but what does that mean for you in 22 or 23?
It's at Ted Cahill, Cahill on Twitter, national writer, Baseball America. Just a kid from Cleveland. So did the Rangers get a good deal, Paul? Who did they get the pitcher?
Not Bauer.
Kluber. Yeah. I mean, he's got stuff left in the tank, right?
You know, you would like to think so. He's been banged up the last couple of years. So, you know, I mean, no one knows his medicals better than the Indians do. But at the same time, you know, he's not that old. So, you know, and he was so good when he's at his best. So I hope for his sake that he has some more and that the Rangers are able to get that out of him. They gave up a nice reliever in Emmanuel Clase, and the Indians really expect him to help for the next several years. But Corey Kluber, when he's at his best, is one of the best pitchers in the game. So if the Rangers can get him back to full health and back to that kind of thing, you know, he's going to be a force for them in the rotation.
Thank you, Teddy. Appreciate your time. Great stuff. Good insight. Really good insight on college baseball and just baseball in general. At Teddy Cahill, Baseball America, at Ted Cahill on Twitter. Coming up next, from baseball to baseball, from a writer to a player to a broadcaster. Former Baylor and Rangers and many other teams, Red Sox among others, outfielder and Fox Sports Southwest analyst David Murphy, next on SicEm365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-through open right now and convenient, clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Wide variety of craft beers. They've got a great walk-in freezer there. I've been in there several times just walking around trying to pick stuff out in the craft beer refrigerator there. They've also got Crown Royal Peach in stock right now and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. All those I can count as personal favorites of mine. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated in a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
We are facing some unique challenges at this time. We want to do our part to support not only our community, but our medical providers who are really overtasked right now. Governor Greg Abbott has required dental offices to postpone all elective dental procedures, but still be available for dental emergencies. At this time, dental emergencies are those that are defined as something that would make somebody consider going to the emergency room for treatment. We're offering to see you at our office Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8 to noon, and we will waive all fees. We're doing this to support the community and to support the medical system. This will allow the overtasked medical community to focus on the truly needy at this time. In the midst of what seems to be so much gloomy news, we want to send a positive signal of our faith in our community and in each other. We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're 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 all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together. Thank you and God bless.
Waco, Texas, our city of remarkable growth and opportunity with an even brighter future ahead. What makes it all work is our people, living, working, and growing together. And we're proud to be from here, helping and serving the community we call home. We are the First National Bank of Central Texas, taking great pride in being locally owned and operated. Come see us at any of our 5 convenient locations. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas. Our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. In today's world, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less, sometimes thousands thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. We even offer financing. Everything's included in the price, and more importantly, you'll not get a bill in the mail later on. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule an appointment safely from home, online in minutes at idealmri.com, or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI. And please remember to follow CDC guidelines and practice social distancing. Stay home, except for the essentials, and be safe, and together we'll get through this at idealmri.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Pitch out to McCormick. Good use of the blocking, but then just obliterated by Chris Miller.
Now back to SicEm365 Radio, presented by IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget. Here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
We will hear from David Murphy momentarily. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina. I'm David Smoak. This 5 o'clock hour brought to you by Edward Jones. You heard that with Tom Albers, Ben Erlinson, and also Brad Wilson. The Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line, and then, of course, the chat room has been fun today, brought to you by the Willis Law Firm. The Willis Law Firm, your Texas injury lawyers. Visit us at TexasTrialLawyer.com. We are available, Paul, on SicEm365.com, on Twitter, Periscope, YouTube and Facebook Live, and...
Yes, and soon to be an app.
We'll have an app that's launched most likely before May 1st, but there's a good chance well before.
I hope so.
Maybe even before the end of next week. That's all right now on the table. Thank you for listening whenever you do, however long it might be. I usually close it with that, but wanted to start the last hour with that. And my goodness, so excited to have David Murphy join us. And, of course, former Baylor and Major League Baseball player, now a broadcaster on Fox Sports Southwest. David, thank you so much. As a player, if this was you, you were active, you were a part of a team, how much would this be dry? I know there's a lot of things people are worried about health, and we should be, and those who are sick and those who have died. How would this drive you crazy right now?
It would definitely drive me crazy. I'm just I'm an action-oriented person, so I love being on the go. I love, staying busy, staying active, and, that's exactly what my career provided. One of the many things, and that's a lot of people say, what do you miss? And I say, it forced me to be active and to stay in shape. So not only was it my dream job and something that I love to do, but just kept me busy, kept me active. And I'm sure these guys are finding ways to do it, but they're also used to, being told, be here at this time, follow, just this is what our group workout looks like. This is what time you have to be where. So now they're having to kind of do things on their own, which maybe some guys enjoy it, but I think most guys just love being part of the group.
David, have you heard or do you like any of the proposals that baseball has to potentially get the season back going again, playing all the games in Florida, Arizona, or what do you think will ultimately work out if they do get the season get going?
That's a really good question. Now on this side of it, on the broadcasting side, but just simply as a fan, I'm in favor of anything that gets the game going because obviously, it's going to be televised, so it's going to be something different. As much as I love watching a lot of these old games that have been on various networks, I love watching live baseball and I love watching it unfold before my eyes. So I'm in favor of whatever gets it going, but at the same time, from a player standpoint and kind of, I don't know if you guys saw or read the article that Mike Trout spoke up the other day and said, I get the idea that they're wanting us to go to Arizona and play, but at the same time, it's unrealistic to expect the players to go play and then to go to the hotel and do nothing else. Mm-hmm. And just, that would drive you a little bit crazy as a player, especially, if you put it in the context of, if a player's struggling, and all you have to do is go back to the hotel and think about your own thoughts, you're just going to get mired in deeper and deeper and into a mental slump that's going to show up on the field.
David, from a player standpoint, how much do fans in the game of baseball matter during the course of the game? And playing games with no fans, I mean, how wild of an effect do you think they could have on, a game that otherwise would be played in front of thousands of people?
I can see it having a big effect. It was a big effect on me. I think that's, I always said, I didn't put up great numbers in the minor leagues. And I mean, it's not like I put up great numbers in the big leagues, but, there's my uptick once I got to the major leagues, and I say, and against better competition, obviously. And I think part of that was I had dreamed of being a Major League Baseball player and all that entailed, and just playing in front of that crowd. And definitely as a player, you feed off the crowd. So I can see that being a challenge, playing in a quiet stadium.
Everyone thinks that the position that is most affected would be pitchers because of how intricate it will be. But how much does this, in your opinion, affect hitters, timing, even though there are batting cages, even though some guys make enough money, they have their own batting cages, maybe even something they have in the backyard if they're a rookie or so. How do you think all that works together?
I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, and the thing too that, I have to imagine that once they make an announcement that they're going to get going, I can imagine that they're going to have at least a few weeks of quote unquote spring training, however that's going to work out. So, and I think the bigger challenge would be from a pitching standpoint, because those guys, I'm sure they've been doing a good job of staying in shape, but they also, there's just no replacing the adrenaline of facing a live hitter in a real game. And there's something to that about a pitcher building up in that way. As a hitter, oftentimes in spring training, there's plenty of hitters that start to peak 2 to 3 weeks in, and they want the season to start right away. So I think, I don't know, it's so hard to really describe because each player is different, and this is just uncharted territory for everyone.
How would you approach a shortened spring training? Or I guess you've split it between the couple weeks they had in end of February and March, and then whenever it starts. How would you approach it to get back as quickly as you could?
Like I said, I don't think it would be that big of a difference because, if I was still playing, I envisioned that I would be getting workouts in the weight room, however I could, 3 to 4 times a week, or personal workouts, and then, taking my swings, because I didn't do a ton of hitting in the off season because, like I said, there was just no way to stimulate it, and I knew that I was going to get enough swings in spring training. So I think once the hitters get there, they're going to get plenty of swings to get them going. I'm sure they're keeping their arms in shape. That's going to be no problem. So, like I said, I don't think from a position player, and speaking from my own personal experience, it would be that challenging. I cannot speak from a pitcher standpoint, but I can see that side of it being a tick more challenging.
How much have you enjoyed the broadcasting side of things, and was that something always on your radar that you were hoping to do one day?
It was really never on my radar. You throw around at times, in the midst of your career, what are you going to do when you get done playing? And it's more of a playful thing. Some guys have big aspirations and are just have wisdom above and beyond everybody else. But I was so caught up in just being a player and having so much fun that I would throw something out there, and you feel like it's going to last forever when you're a player, and then boom, it just time passes so quickly. I'm 4 years retired now, and I can't believe it. So, at times people would say, "Would you be interested in broadcasting?" And I always said, "No, I don't think I'm quick enough to, just to spit out the words that I need on the fly to be able to react. I don't think I understood the ins and outs of, the play-by-play guy talking and as a color analyst when you step in, and so." Having a better understanding of that and kind of doing it at the minor league level, a year or two after I retired, I kind of got a little bit of a feel for it. And I was actually surprised when they asked me to do it for the big league games last year. And, I've really enjoyed it. I was disappointed. I was supposed to work the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this past week against the Yankees, and so those would have been my first 3 games as an analyst at the new stadium, and so definitely bummed that didn't work out. But hopefully we get some baseball in this year, and hopefully I have the opportunity to do this for years to come.
I don't know if you could tell over the phone, but we all just hurt for you when you announced the Yankees miss. Yeah,
David, when you're a player and you played at the level you did, if you go to a game, not as a broadcaster, but if you just were to go to a game, do you watch the game as a player, or do you get a chance to just be a fan?
Maybe a little bit of both. I think having the experiences that I have, it's hard to not break it down and analyze it the way that I would as a player. But, I'm a fan as well. And I just, I enjoy it, and especially having, I have a 9-year-old son now who loves the game. And I have another little 5-year-old who's getting into it a little bit. And my girls were raised around it. My girls are 12 and 11. So, just the chance to share it with them, for instance, a few years ago, the Yankees came in town, and I was working the pre and post game that night. But usually for pre and post game, the show starts at 6:30, and I'll show up at 6, and that's kind of my usual routine. And I had never showed up early to watch batting practice or anything. But I took my son. I said, "Hey, we got to go watch Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton take batting practice." And so I'm just eating it up. One, just to be able to post playing days, to be able to take my son and sit in the dugout on the field watching batting practice. I realize that's a privilege and a treat. And I try to, hammer that into his brain, because he's gotten to do some cool things that most 9-year-olds don't get to do. So, try to help him to realize, what a treat that is. And that was for me as well, just to be able to, say, oh, look at these guys go to the opposite field, watch their approach and how they do things. And then just, see the rockets come off their bat, and just to be able to share that with my kids.
What's the worst you ever got heckled?
It's bad everywhere. I think Toronto was one of my worst.
The Canadians, really? Wow. They're supposed to be nice.
I know. And, the outfield was bad because some of the stuff that you expect grown men to yell some things at you, but I would hear it from kids as well. But one of my funnier stories was there as well, just because, everybody knew me to be a pretty laid back guy and, the quote unquote nice guy. But, I was raised with a brother who was 13 years older than me. So he definitely taught me to talk trash. And we used to have some basketball battles in the backyard. And, one day it was a Sunday, and these guys that are sitting right behind the on deck circle in Toronto start talking trash. And it was just one of those days usually I ignored, but I had been feeling good at the plate lately. And I was like, if it's a day to talk back and just enjoy it with these guys. So I kind of just jawed back a little bit, and I ended up going 3 for 4, 3 for 5 that day. But the icing on the cake was my very last at bat. I'd had a good day already, and every time they said I wasn't going to do very well, I hit a double or something like that. But they said, all right, if you go up there this at bat and you hit a home run, we'll give you a standing O as you come back by. Sure enough, I hit a home run, and I didn't even realize it until I was about halfway between second and third, and I pointed at him when I was running back past the on deck circle to the dugout.
That's awesome.
You evil person, you.
I know, that's awesome.
David Murphy with some That's all. I love that though. That's always the best way, right? Just to kind of yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's good. Well, there's plenty of days that I didn't have the last laugh, but on that particular day I did.
Hey, David, what have you thought about what you've seen of the new ballpark, and is it a little bittersweet to know that once the Rangers do get back to it, they're going to be playing in a different setting than what you played in?
It looks beautiful. Definitely disappointed, that the old place is gone. And I'm sure the writing is on the wall. I would love for it to stand. Obviously all the news with the XFL recently, that may not happen any longer. So that may not be an XFL stadium. I don't know what else they may use it, the old stadium, what they may use it for. So hopefully that thing stands for a long time, but the new stadium is beautiful. Obviously it's 2020, modern technology and all, it's going to be state of the art. I walked through it in early February, and it still looked like it was like a long ways off. But in the updated pictures that I've seen, it looks beautiful. I think I let my stir craziness get the best of me the other day, because I texted somebody up there last week, and I'm like, any chance I can get a look at the new ballpark? And they're like, no, we're on lockdown right now.
That would have been cool.
Man,
Yep.
hey, we one more thing, David. You know what the Rangers did in the offseason, and they have been through a rebuilding stage after the great run for most of the decade. What did you expect from them in a way with Kluber and what they've done with some starting pitchers and a couple of other moves they made?
I love the pitching staff. It's safe to say that it is one of the best. It would have been one of the best opening day staffs that the Rangers have ever had. Obviously, it's on paper, and they got to go out there and do it. But they set themselves up in a good way there. Offensively, I feel like it's the same as I would have spoken about them last year. If everybody were to live up to expectations and perform, to the best of their abilities or close to the best of their abilities, they could be in the thick of things. But, I think if you're looking at it realistically and the challenging division that they play in with the Astros and the A's, and then obviously the Angels got a lot better, it could be a challenging year if you look at it realistically. But that's the beauty of baseball. You never know exactly how it's going to work.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Stay safe. We'll see you soon, hopefully at a ballpark.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Always enjoy it.
David Murphy.
Good stuff.
Part of Fox Sports Southwest. How about that? Was going to be doing the games, Yankees. David Murphy played for, a lot of teams. Red Sox, then the Rangers for a long stretch. A couple years with Cleveland. His last year with the Angels of Anaheim.
He got voted a playoff share when the 2004 Red Sox, even though he played several games and then got traded. They voted him the share and sent him a World Series ring, and he just has it.
So you get one or the other?
You get both. I mean,
okay.
so he gets the playoff share and he gets a ring.
Oh, I thought you said
says a lot about him.
Yeah, and he just has it. But I mean, he just kind of has it. And I remember asking him about that. I was like, "So what do you do with it?" And he's like, "Well, I didn't do. I was playing on another team when they won the World Series."
That would be kind of weird to have the Super Bowl or World Series ring when you played a handful of games, or you didn't really play with the team on that journey. But hey, you take it, I suppose. I mean, it's not like you get offered those very often.
Coming out of Klein High School, he had offers from Texas, Rice, and A&M. All of them, of course, have great baseball tradition, as did Baylor. He signed or committed and signed with Baylor and had a heck of a year. Was a starting right fielder right off the top as a freshman. All right, when we come back, Colt Barber, Grayson Grunhafer, and Jason King do a lot of work with Q&As and stories and recruiting and columns and all that. Right now, Jason King, who had Shock Linwood Q&A yesterday, today has a story on James Lynch that's on the premium site on SicEm365.com. We heard from Grayson earlier. Also up is... Colt does a lot of the recruiting stuff, but he really is like the brains of the technical and all the things that slam information out to you. He has, in an interview with Vince Ginta, who is a part of the personnel department, basically, in that ways in college football, and he had that up, it's been a while. We peeled out a part of it where he discusses defensive linemen and going forward with recruiting and some ideas and philosophy. Vince Ginta with Colt Barber next on SicEm365 Radio.
Are you in the market for a new home? Are you looking to sell your home? Are you looking to upsize, downsize, whatever? Look, I know these are crazy times, and if you're in that market, whatever the times are, you need a realtor in your corner that guides you through anything you're going to encounter. Contact my good friend Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty. Lance is a great guy, super fun, super relaxed, super laid back. He's going to put you at ease because it's a stressful decision buying a home. It's one of the most stressful things you will ever do in your entire life. And Lance will make it much easier for you. So just let the Donaldson family team, Lance Donaldson, take the reins and go for it. He will listen to what you need, he'll listen to what you want, and he will find that perfect place for you. So give him a call, 254-214-3713, or visit his webpage for the most current listings, lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas. Our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. In today's world, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. We even offer financing. Everything's included in the price, and more importantly, you'll not get a bill in the mail later on. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule an appointment safely from home, online in minutes at idealmri.com, or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI. And please remember to follow CDC guidelines and practice social distancing. Stay home, except for the essentials, and be safe, and together we'll get through this at idealmri.com.
This is Waco, and this is Boozer's Jewelers. When locals want luxurious jewelry and at a competitive price, they come here. This is Brad Boozer. He's the owner of Boozer's Jewelers. Boozer's is the premier wedding ring store. They specialize in loose diamonds and wedding rings. At Boozer's, they have 7 jewelry counters dedicated to wedding rings and diamonds only. They also specialize in heirloom jewelry, custom jewelry, watches, and much, much more. So what are you waiting for? Stop on in today and discover why the locals trust Boozer's for their jewelry.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
We are facing some unique challenges at this time. We want to do our part to support not only our community, but our medical providers who are really overtasked right now. Governor Greg Abbott has required dental offices to postpone all elective dental procedures, but still be available for dental emergencies. At this time, dental emergencies are those that are defined as something that would make somebody consider going to the emergency room for treatment. We're offering to see you at our office Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8 to noon, and we will waive all fees. We're doing this to support the community and support the medical system. This will allow the overtasked medical community to focus on the truly needy at this time. In the midst of what seems to be so much gloomy news, we want to send a positive signal of our faith in our community and in each other. We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're 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 all in this together. We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together. Thank you and God bless.
Welcome back into SicEm365 Radio. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak, David Smoak. And in just a second, we're going to have Vince Ginta with Colt Barber. It's about time Colt started pulling his weight. No.
Yeah, he's just been kicking back, feet up, poolside, not doing much of anything here during quarantine. No, Colt has been very, very busy. I mean, Smokey just gave him some praise there a few moments ago, but no, it's much deserved, and that goes for the whole staff. I mean, we really got into a good situation with this whole SicEm365 Radio adventure, and could not. I've known those guys for a while. I know you've known them for a while as well as Smokey, but I've got to know them a little bit more from the working for them side the last couple years, and I knew how great they were, and I'm so excited that you guys are going to see that as well, and how much fun it can be when you got the right people in place. So it's been cool.
It's really nice, I'll just tell you, to be able to call somebody up and throw an idea off of them, and then immediately not be shut down.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great. It's awesome to work with a collective people who all have the same goal and want to have any ideas who to get to that goal, or to make anything better, and to really have, gonna kind of have that whiteboard mentality of, let's write some stuff down, and there's no bad ideas.
Yeah,
there's stuff that we'll do, and there's stuff that we won't do.
Yeah,
let's just figure it out. So,
this might not be something that we pursue right now, but hey, let's look at this in a few months or whatever. Or hey, that's a good idea, but what about if we did this? And it's the way it's supposed to be. Quite frankly, it's the way that things are supposed to work, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, Colt has a lengthy. This is only part of this. Just 12 minutes of about a nearly half-hour discussion he had with Baylor Director of Pro Personnel Vince Ginta.
Yes.
And this is, part of the coaching staff you don't get to see that often, is, kind of behind the scenes and off-field coach, so to speak, in Vince Ginta, and really in-depth stuff. It's up on SicEm365, the whole thing, so you can hear it. This is just part of that conversation that he had with Vince Ginta.
How do you go about recruiting, finding guys? And I know that you spent time in Nebraska. You recruited a guy like Ndamukong Suh that was a man amongst boys throughout his career.
Right.
But what are you trying to find? Is there a special trait as far as testing that you really try to hone in on? Not just, do they have the frame to add more weight? Is there something that you're really looking at for the offensive and defensive linemen to be able to sign those to a place like Baylor, that not necessarily Texas, where you can go throw your hat in the ring and be in a finalist group?
Right. Well, like I said, I think finding the kids that have high character, that are hardworking and fit into a certain size range, I think that's critical. But I think that the next part that comes along with that is you look at the way that football recruiting in general, not just whatever pro specific to Baylor or anywhere. Big people are harder to find these days, right? Mm-hmm. Because of 7-on-7, a lot of guys that might have potentially been offensive linemen or defensive linemen, they gain or they lose a couple pounds so that they can stay a tight end, you know what I mean, or that they can stay a linebacker.
Right.
So there's less big bodies because of that. There's, the numbers are telling you nationally, not in the state of Texas as much, but nationally numbers are down a little bit in participation in high school football. And I think hopefully over time, as we continue to take safety measures in the game, and that we can get those numbers to where they're back on the increase again instead of the decrease, I think that will help. But I just think that you have to be willing to, and this is every program now too, not just Baylor, you have to be willing and need to go find a guy that has the potential. And so that's the only things that you can research are the sizes and the characters and things like that. That's what you have to put into play to make your projections. And then, you got the old classic eyeball test. A kid walks in a room and you just, you can kind of get a feel sometimes too for, what their frame is like, stuff like that. But, we do all the measurements and scientific stuff that you can do to get background on kids. But, I think that we all are in the projection business now. Not just some schools. I think we're all in it.
Makes it a little bit different. So you obviously, I mentioned at Nebraska, you recruited Suh. He was one of your big staples. Is there another group of guys that you would say this was my calling card when I went to interview for a job? This is the guy I could say this is who I landed. This is why I get this job. Right. So was there another group that you had that you said that you really liked to tout that I was part of the reason that I was able to land them?
Well, I'll first say that I learned very early on in this business. My role is to support our coaching staff in their recruiting endeavors. And so any relationships that I might build personally or anything like that are in support of them.
Sure.
And so the guys that I am, and my theory is so I don't have that guy that I can say, hey, we got this guy just because of me. Like, there's a couple guys I might have found like they're found first or something like that, but which is even getting harder and harder to do in this day and age. Like, I'll tell you, I'll never forget, like, at Nebraska, sending out tapes, to different high school coaches, and then you would wait to get these tapes back, and it could take months to get these tapes back, right? Because the coach would make a highlight tape, and he'd probably send you a crappy quality one back, and he'd keep your good one that you sent him, right? Yeah. One of those guys was Coach McGuire. I signed a kid from Coach McGuire back in the old days. But I'll never forget getting a tape back on a young man that's still playing in the NFL named Prince Amukamara. He was from Arizona, and we got Prince's tape in, and we had been waiting it for weeks. And literally the day we got it in was the day that the recruiting coach was out on the road recruiting. And so the timing was crazy because, we had to make an evaluation on it. Right. And he's like, what am I doing? What am I telling this coach? And I got a couple other guys in the room. I'm like, just offer him. Right. And the rest is history. And he ends
There's no Twitter at that point.
No, there's not. There's, so that was a funny story. I'll never forget that, getting that film that day. But, that was kind of how I look at it. And so, I've been a part of it. One thing I do know, I knew I was getting old in this business. When a young man that I was involved with recruiting became a head coach in the National Football League, that's when I knew that I was officially getting up there. Zach Taylor with the Cincinnati Bengals was an all Big 12 player for us. So we had a lot of NFL guys come through there. I don't know just off the top of my head. There's been so many. I don't want to put anybody up, but I've been blessed to watch some really good players in person and help me around them. I was able, when we were at Nebraska, we had. Everyone talks about Sue, but like she said, Prince was really special. Jared Crick, I think, is still, was kicking around the NFL forever, and I know Matt Slauson is kicking around the NFL forever.
Those Nebraska teams had some great defenses, so they were pretty loaded up. I mean, I assume you'd want to take credit for most of those guys if you could.
Oh, I don't. I mean, there are some, there are some good players there, but like I said, I was just there, just helping the coaches, and I mean, I remember, there's a couple Hall of Famers from our time in Utah. Everyone remembers Steve Smith from the Carolina Panthers.
Sure.
Remember, being part of his recruiting process, and another young man, Jordan Gross, that, was also with the Panthers for years and years. And those two will be NFL Hall of Famers. And, so again, but I was just, happy to help be a part of the process with those guys. We put a lot of guys in the NFL from our those few years that Coach Aranda and I were at Wisconsin together. We put a lot of NFL guys in, out and kind of continued that on. Hopefully we're going to continue that on at Baylor. Coach Aranda's just continue to put out NFL prospects,
Absolutely. So this will be my last question for you, because I know you got a lot of things to do, including being with your family, but was from your time at Nebraska, and I haven't even thought about this until it just kind of clicked, did you have any Baylor stories from when, and I know that at that point that you were playing a program that was up and coming, not necessarily what it has been, but do you have any stories that, and I know you probably weren't even playing one or two, every other year, but.
Well, I really have one. I have two things that I'll never forget. One, having to do with Baylor. One, I have always remembered recruiting offensive linemen. There was one that we were recruiting that I knew was going to be really, really good, and we wanted him really bad. His name was Russell Okung, and he ended up going and playing for Coach Wickline at Oklahoma State. We had kept that guy, Coach Wickline, everywhere I go, I've always lost offensive line. So I was really excited when I knew that I was going to get to work with him, and I have not been disappointed. That's been really fun.
Good.
He's been a blast, and he's a great recruiter and a great guy, and we're lucky to have him. But my particular Baylor story, so we're down on the road. I think it's 2005. We're playing in the old stadium. It was across the road there.
A little bit different now.
Yeah, it was a battle, right? It was Baylor was, they were pretty good that year, and we were pretty good too. And it was a battle, and it came down. The difference in the game was the special teams play. And Danny Sepulveda, the great Baylor punter. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Sepulveda, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Baylor fans will get on you if you don't get that one right.
Yes. So he's an Adonis back there, right? Like he looks like he should like a prototype, like outside linebacker, let alone be a punter, right? So he rails off. It's the fourth quarter, tight game. He booms a punt, just a big boomer. And we end up, our returner caught it, and it was, he literally the term outkick your coverage, right? He outkicks the coverage, gets returned for a touchdown, and that's really the difference in the game. Well, again, it's not the social media era. It's still the newspaper and TV era.
Right.
So I wake up in the morning and my phone is blowing up. There were texts back then. So we did have cell phones and text messages. So I wake up in the morning and I've got about 125, 135 texts on my phone. There's a picture on the front page of the Nebraska newspaper, and it is the full page, right? It opens up to a full color page of this punt return, and just as big as the punt returner in the photo is me on the sideline jumping with my 5-inch vertical, excited. And I'm sure someone could research it. It's hilarious. I still have a picture. I still have it up on my wall. Yeah, I have it framed everywhere I go. It's funny, but I'll never forget that. And then, just that experience of waking up in the morning and having the entire state texting me and being like, nice picture.
Well, now you know what you need to do is get with Taylor Bryan and get with the media team and reenact that picture at McLean, but it's in Baylor gear. And I don't know who you could have. Yeah, I don't know who you could have returning the punt, but I think you need to reenact that and then get it, framed and put beside that picture.
And the scary thing is I had a 10-inch vertical. Now I probably have a 2-inch vertical now. So definitely would need to have like some of the graphic design would have elements would have to come into it because they'd have we have great graphic designers, so they'd have to put some space in the air between my feet and the ground.
I bet they could do it. I bet they could do it. So, well, Vince, man, I really appreciate you visiting with me, and I know our listeners are excited and our members are excited to hear from you for the first time. Truthfully, and man, I hope you have a safe trip back from Oregon. I hope you enjoy your time with your family as you come back to Waco, whenever that might be. And we look forward to following recruiting, and it's been really exciting so far, and we look forward to following a little bit more in depth as we move forward.
Thank you so much, and I would just like to echo that, and I would wish you, all of the Baylor family, and all of us out there across the world just stay safe and stay healthy, and my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone around as we're all going through this together. So I appreciate your time, and I just can't wait to get this thing up and rolling.
That's Vince Gitta, again, of Baylor's football staff with Colt Barber. When we come back, Joe Buck turned down a lot of money. Why? We'll tell you why. The WNBA draft starts in about 20 minutes. Lauren Cox, Dea Cooper, without question, will be drafted. The possibility we'll see with Juicy Landrum and much more.
And by the way, if you want to hear that full interview with Colt and Vince Gitta, who is the director of player personnel over at Baylor, then certainly head on over to SicEm365.com to be able to listen to that in full. I think you get a lot of stuff in that interview that you might not get in a typical interview, where you can really get into the details of recruiting practice and philosophy and things like that. So if that's your bag, then you enjoyed that little snippet we gave you. There's more, and you can check it out over at SicEm365.com.
Thanks to those of you who have been communicating with us on the Willis Law Firm chat room on SicEm365.com, the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line, 254-339-1122, and, of course, throughout many other ways on social media. When we come back, we'll wrap it up. SicEm365, Week 2, Episode 10. This is SicEm365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be, that you want to be. He can do this, get your blood work. He can check your lab work. He can see where your testosterone levels are. And if it's too low, he could put you in a program that puts you back at the level it needs to be to become the high-performance man that you want to be, whether it's just energy and you're kind of lethargic, you don't feel right. That could be testosterone. He could also help you with your stamina, your sex drive. It can just make you feel better. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com. His offices located just off Highway 84 in Woodway on Old Hewitt Road. It's like the second building on the right-hand side. Kent Petty, Dr. Kent Petty, got the great staff. Former star John Henry is on his staff as well. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com. Paul, John Henry from Lorena.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic running back. He's there as well among his great staff. PettyClinicLowT.com, high-performance man. By calling him, contacting him, let him do lab work, and he can help you become that high-performance man you want to be. PettyClinicLowT.com.
Our communities are facing unprecedented times. At Boozer's Jewelers, we care about you and your family. If you're like me, your home has unwanted or unused jewelry lying around. They can have value, and that means we can turn that jewelry into instant cash. This is a great way to get the most value from your unwanted jewelry. At Boozer's Jewelers, we buy all kinds of unused jewelry. So give us a call and let us give you peace of mind and cash for your unwanted or unused jewelry.
Waco, Texas, a place with its own unique history and a future bright with promise. Full of remarkable growth and opportunity, and what makes it all work is its people. Families, raising children, growing businesses. Wacoans are hardworking with a passion for what's next, and we're proud to be from here, helping Waco to grow and prosper. We are the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, this is Grant Taft, and I'm a proud listener and supporter of the all-new SicEm365 Radio Show with my friend David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak. SicEm.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We are open to support our community through this crisis. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Salsa drap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue.
Next in line. Hi, this is Mart High School football coach Kevin Hoffman, and I'm a proud listener and supporter of the all-new SicEm365 Radio Show with David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
In this day and age, you must be able to change how you do business. Think outside the box to ensure that you service your customers. And at Waco Custom Marketplace, we've created our own drive-thru for your Monday, Wednesday, and Friday shopping needs, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So you can still order and enjoy from our great butcher shop and bakery, including 2 pounds of 8-ounce salmon fillets for $24.05, 2 pounds of 4-ounce catfish fillets for $4.90, sliced ham or turkey, American cheese and smoked sausage, fresh chicken breast, 3.5-pound whole chickens, sliced bacon, boneless pork chops, 80-20 ground beef, 4 pieces of sirloin steak or 4 pieces of ribeye steak from $19 to $35. Marinated beef or chicken fajita meat plus a loaf of bread. Fresh carrots and Idaho or red beef potatoes or white onions. Pinto beans and white rice, flour tortillas. So the great product, customer service, and tradition continues at Waco Custom Marketplace with a drive-thru only Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential. Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Thanks to Chris, who sent me a couple of direct messages today on Twitter as he was listening in with just, he has been a ham radio operator for 25 years. And was just kind of giving us a couple of things that he heard, and that's great. Good to hear from you. Monday's show is packed up already. We still have a couple of more things to come. Appreciate those who joined us today. Now,
and we'll have the draft to talk about.
Yeah, we will.
Really talk about starting next week, and actually have to talk about on Friday's show next week, episode what will be number 15. But we'll have, probably Denzel, or well, perhaps, because it's only the first round, so maybe Denzel Mims to talk about. But we'll definitely have a clear picture on kind of the avenue that some of these guys may take.
And then by Monday of this next week, we'll know where some of the Baylor Lady Bears are headed, including possibility of being in touch with wherever they go. So all of our Baylor segments brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac. Baylor's guest line with Baylor players, athletes, coaches, proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics, and there for you right now like they always are. Joe Buck rejected $1 million. A few weeks ago, Buck said he was getting requests to add his voice to adult videos. He has done some odd, I don't know if you've seen this, he's done play-by-play with people who are cooking, marble racing on Twitter. He said that he was not ready to go down that road, maybe later in life, but not now. An adult site offered him $1 million to change his mind.
He's got more than that. It's a lot of money.
Did you read his response?
25 live cam shows per week.
Oh,
I thought it was per month, per week. No, I did not.
Well, Darren Ravel, who, by the way, I never quote Darren Ravel. I'm not a fan of his. He's just too obsessed with money, and it's just gross and greasy to me. Although he was nice at the Super Bowl, so I'm sure he's a fine person. But he was wrong on his tweet the other day. Like, the one time I read a Darren Ravel tweet, it's a wrong tweet on the percentage of attendance money that colleges get, and it sounded kind of off at the time, but I'm just like, hey, here's Darren Ravel. He's got like 1 billion followers. He's got to be putting factual stuff out. That was way wrong, by the way. So anyways, Darren Ravel had the tweet about a porn site saying they will pay Joe Buck $1 million to announce its cam shows live. The site also said it was accepting applications from other national and local sports commentators. So, guys, if you ever feel the urge to do some play-by-play, then they are offering out there. But Joe Buck quote tweeted this and said, depending on the site, they could just be handing me some of my money back to me. So I'll hold out for a better offer and try to hold on to my day job, but I have to say I'm flattered.
Yeah.
So
here's the thing. That's pretty much rock bottom, I would say.
What?
Porn play-by-play? Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, that's where, all right, if I got to do it, I got to do it.
Let me ask you this. If right now one of your favorite sites contacted
one of
and said, you do 25 videos a week and we give you $1 million, what would you say to them?
It'd be hard to say. I've never had $1 million.
I know.
I think it would be creepy, and it would be hard, talking to my mother again.
What did you say?
It'd be creepy.
It would be tough. It would be tough to explain.
Did a word just slip in there accidentally?
No, I said creepy. That's what I said. It would be creepy. It would be super creepy, and there's just you don't want to be that guy. Now, there's plenty of people I'm sure who'd be like, yeah, I'll do it. I've met some people in our business that I'm sure once they saw the tweet were like, hey, what's this? Where's the submission page?
Yeah, I think there would be a few lined up. What was great too is his wife's name Michelle, correct? Michelle Buck. I believe this is his wife that responded. But Joe also said later on after that first response to it, he said, this 17th day of April in the year 2020, I became the first sports announcer to ever reject a 7-figure offer from a porn site. at Michelle Beisner, I want this on my headstone. And she responded, of all the offers you've turned down to keep your day job, Buck, this one not only hurts the most, but also had the most potential. Epic fail. So
oh my God.
That's some fun with the Buck family over this story that's out there. But
with the 254 on the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line, it's going to panic that makes receivers go. It's going to panic that makes receivers go earlier. When there's 18 of them, though, you would think you'd let them kind of fall in your lap. Just like with quarterbacks, as soon as one goes, then here comes three more.
And some interesting things going on at the top of the draft. I was on a podcast with everybody in the Believe Network earlier this week, or the end of last week, that's coming out tonight, of all the people that do the NFC East shows on that. And the guy who does the Giants show said the Giants are in the most interesting position in the draft they've ever been in, because they drafted a quarterback last year. They have a top 5 pick. They're at number 4. And while Dave Gettleman has never traded down in the draft in his entire general manager career, at this point, he could be open to that. And he's said he'll see, and this is the time they do, but they will seriously entertain it, as will the Lions, who are a pick ahead of them at number 3. The Lions and Giants, who both have quarterbacks, and especially if the Redskins haul off and choose Chase Young, they can just sit back and let the people behind them eat their young. Sure. They really can.
Well, yeah, and the thing about having a deep wide receiver class is that it means just about every team should be able to find a receiver that on paper looks like they could be a pretty good pro player, but just because there's a lot of them doesn't mean there's not still a huge drop-off from the 5 guys that you would initially go after versus the next 5 versus the next 7. So there is a difference between a Denzel Mims and a guy who's maybe the 15th best wide receiver. So I think that will determine some of the run as well. You know, you don't want to just go get a guy because everybody else is picking him, but if there's a number of guys that are really good that you're sure of, then yeah, that could create a run to where you see a big-time shuffle, and maybe a Denzel Mims benefit from that.
This is from Ross Rogers, a longtime coach, been in Central Texas with Brian. When I sent an email out back on March the 25th, once we kind of had an idea of what was going on with us, this was really nice. He goes, we welcome you and your staff and background promoting high school athletics as you move into your new positions. Please feel free to call anytime. We've admired your passion for high school sports, wishing that a person like you would bring that to the Brazos Valley, which is, we kind of do have
a little
some
bit
of that with, but it's kind of on the, it's kind of like what, if you're Bryan College Station, what Waco would be.
Well, here's the great thing about this show as well, is that was sort of on the verge, that whole area where we could count it or not count it, and it didn't really, quite frankly, matter one way or the other, but with this show now, I mean, we are based in Waco, where Baylor is based, and we are going to have a lot more of the Waco area high school football coverage, but we're not limited by a radio signal. I mean, we're everywhere. So that's a great thing, and we can talk plenty of Brazos Valley high school football if we so choose.
Absolutely. It's one of the things I'm looking forward to is also not just, and we'll have the 95 or 6 programs that we'll cover, but, if there's something going on in Lubbock or something going on in Abilene or something that's going on in Beaumont or wherever, we want to be able to reach out, which we on occasion used to do as well. I just noticed that the Joey McGuire interview, all of that, all these are podcasts that we've gotten up on our Twitter timelines.
All of them up.
And also
except for the full show, which is still going.
Splinter.
Spotify.
Stitcher.
By the way, just got a text from Jason King. If making $1 million is hitting rock bottom, sign me up.
Yeah, no kidding.
I just think as a broadcaster, it's just an interesting push and pull of what you.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
I mean, just all right. Here's what I'm willing to do. And again,
I think it would be a hard decision.
Yeah, if they. Yeah,
let's see how long lockdown lasts, and then we'll check back in with Joe here in a couple months.
If they called me tomorrow, I'd have to go to church and
no doubt.
Can you imagine if you did that and then you walked inside your cathedral and the walls started shaking?
Yeah. I would think that...
sometimes they do that anyway.
Yeah. I would think that the churchgoers might have a little bit of a judgment issue with you if you were to show up that following Sunday.
What does he do? Thanks to Joey McGuire, Grayson Grundhafer, Sam Enrique Carroll, young man who's just committed to Baylor, Dennis Gentry, former Baylor running back, had so much fun with him, 85 Bears, Teddy Cahill from Baseball America, David Murphy, Vince Ginta, Baylor's associate AD for player personnel.
Yeah, and I think these former players have had a blast being able to kind of walk down memory lane and talk a bit about whether it was their recruitment back in the 70s or the 80s or just games they played in or their relationship with their coaches and fellow players. And it's fun to catch up with these guys. And I got to do a little bit of that with the site during football season with the Smoak Show. But I was talking to guys who really had kind of wrapped up their careers for the most part in the last 5 or 6 years. And so to hear some of these guys who are 30 years past their playing days and still looking back fondly on the school they chose, I think is really, really neat. And especially to hear that pretty much all of them keep up to this day with what's going on and are excited about Dave Aranda and his staff.
Academic All-Stars, today was the final day for postmark mail for nominations for the 10th Annual Academic All-Stars program. Of course, our title sponsor, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, protecting Texans since 1952. We've got a lot in. We had to go figure out that some that were sent to me originally at the radio station were sent back to schools. Nobody's at the schools.
Yeah.
So I've had some parents then somehow who have teachers or counselors then reach out saying, hey, this has been sent back. Not forwarded to me, not hey, but sent back.
That would take effort.
We'll see. Now, Dustin's been good, but that's disappointing because there's going to be some nominations that might fall through the cracks. But we're gonna release the team, we hope, on May the 1st. There's no rush to that right now, other than the fact that we wanted to have a banquet May 13th, but that's probably not going to happen.
Could we do theoretically we could do a Zoom session, right?
Yeah, no, we could, and that's what I want to do. It's not nearly as difficult as running the banquet, and of course Stephen Mackey could still do his speech.
And I could. Here's what I could do. For a Zoom session, I could originate it. We could set up the Zoom for the people involved and their families. I could record that, and we could put that up on our YouTube page, and people could watch it.
And the sponsors would be happy, and so we're going to look into that. But we will start to comb through the nominations and hopefully be able to get a few more that trickle in. That's it? For Craig Smoak.
No, I had a note. I was letting you finish your sentence that you were wrapping up there. I did want to make mention WNBA draft's getting ready to come on here in a few minutes, and I don't know when they'll actually make the first pick, but it should start pretty soon, and Lauren Cox will get picked pretty quick. But another player announcing they're coming back next year. We know Andy Thomas announced he's coming back for Baylor baseball. Hayden Kettler coming back for Baylor baseball as well. He announced that about an hour ago.
That's about 4 this week, I think, that has been released. For Paul, for Craig, I'm David Smoak. Thanks to all of our fantastic sponsors. We continue to grow, and so do they. And thank you for helping us spread the word. Thank you for listening whenever you do, however long it might be, and have a great weekend.